but back to that question: is Trump the problem? Is Trump a problem that can't be solved by a Politico like Priebus or even a four-star general like Kelly? 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. Here's how the Journal has it. Presidents get the White House operations they want, and Mr. Trump has a chaotic mess because he seems to like it. He likes pitting faction against faction, as if his advisors are competing casino operators from his Atlantic City days. But a presidential administration is a larger undertaking than a family business, and the infighting and competing leaks have created a dysfunctional White House. Well, even the Trump loyalists would concede some of that, particularly with respect to the leaking, because it's coming. That's a concern that's being raised from both Scaramucci, from Priebus, from a lot of folks. So, is Trump, for all of his putative business acumen, not a particularly good executive? And he's got a White House in chaos that, even though he's made progress on a number of fronts, when it comes to the big-ticket legislative items, he seems to be languishing in the swamp.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there's a lack of discipline in the West Wing. And President Trump always seems to have a soft spot for men in the military. And hopefully Kelly will be effective, especially, being in the Marines, being, as you said, a four-star general, that it'll work. But what if it doesn't? I mean, what if you have to try something? You have to throw things against the wall and see what sticks, right? So hopefully.
No, I don't think you actually do. I think you have to be reflective and make judicious decisions. I think you have to measure twice and cut once. I think that's what a good executive does. It isn't throw things against the wall and see what sticks.
Well, look at who's
that's
gone.
Insane.
Comey's gone. Spicer's gone.
Comey should have been. Comey was.
I'm just saying
what does Comey have to do with anything?
No, I'm saying
Comey wasn't a loyalist.
People who've plowed through the past 100 days. People who are no longer here. Priebus, Spicer. The first, I don't even know this guy, the first White House communications director,
Dumpy.
And then the deputy chief of staff, and then the national security advisor. They're in the first 100 days. Those are all the people that have come and gone.
Well, we're past the first 100 days, first of all. Secondly, the idea of people coming in and out of administration is nothing new. There's not a particularly long shelf life for most of these posts. However, the circumstances under which they come and go, the basis for them coming and going, that matters. And in some cases, the basis for the going with respect to Jim Comey, that was long overdue. Yeah. In other cases, Spicer or Scaramucci for Spicer, effectively, Scaramucci and Sanders for Spicer and Priebus. I'm fine with making changes if you don't feel like your administration is where it needs to be, and his is not. 7-8 months in, but the quality of the replacement matters. This is like a conversation we had on Friday. It's great to be a fighter, and I want a fighter for conservative reform policies too. I want a fighter for economic and individual liberty and religious freedom as well. The quality of the fights that you take up and how you prosecute them matters. Personnel matters. Changes, the quality of the change you make matters, not just making change. Change is inevitable. So that's the point where some people, particularly Trump supporters, seem to get lost in the details of assessing the quality of what is being done rather than just that something is being done. You see the difference. Now, much like Sessions, Reince Priebus endured the criticism from Scaramucci and ultimately the change out for Kelly like a professional. Here's what Priebus said to Wolf Blitzer this weekend.
The president was great. He wanted to include me in figuring out how and who would be a great successor and a good chief of staff. I think General Kelly's a brilliant pick. And I just, like I said, talked to him, talked to the president. We'll be working on a transition here for a couple of weeks together with General Kelly, starting on Monday morning. So this is not like a situation where there's a bunch of ill will feelings. This is, I think, good for the president. I think it's smart for him to pick General Kelly, and I think that things are going to be run very well.
And that was, as much as Wolf Blitzer tried to get Priebus off message, that was not going to happen. Priebus saying, look, he's still on Team Trump.
I've always said to him, and he always agreed with me, anytime either one of us think that we need to make a change or move in a different direction, let's just talk about it and get it done. And so I think the president thought about that, and we talked about it yesterday, and I resigned and he accepted my resignation. But this is about the president. It's about moving his agenda forward. I think he's made a smart decision with General Kelly, and I think he's going to do a great job. And I'm looking forward to the future. One other thing, I'm always going to be a Trump fan. I'm on Team Trump, and I look forward to helping him achieve his goals and his agenda for the American people.
I would love to know what really happened. And when he was on with Sean Hannity, he said, look, things that are discussed in private are not going to be made public. But
Right,
Sean
because
Hannity
he's a
even,
professional.
because on Friday night even asked him, so what about you and Scaramucci? What's going on there?
I'm not going to get into that subject. It's getting in the mud, and I think the palace intrigue stuff is annoying, and I think it's a distraction. It takes away from the president's agenda. I think what everyone needs to do is just focus on the president, to focus on the things that he wants to get done for the American people.
That's the same thing he told Blitzer in the interview. You're not going to get him off message.
No. But
And
would you want to work with Scaramucci? I mean, if that was your coworker and knowing how he operated, how brass he was, would you want to subject yourself to that?
Yeah, it's obviously not. I think I made my opinions clear on Scaramucci on Friday and his cartoonish antics at this walking ethnic slur that is the mooch last week. But I'm more interested in how Priebus is handling the transition. And this is somebody who's a professional. So you like Reince Priebus or you don't like Reince Priebus. I'm all for bringing in an outside talent in politics, generally speaking, at every level of government. All for it. The quality of the talent matters. How they represent the administration, particularly at this level, represent the United States government matters. Priebus, pretty good representative.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up, your phone calls, 312-642-5600. What do you think of General Kelly as the new chief of staff? But first, here is your forecast for today. It's going to be sunny, pleasant, a high of 84 degrees, 63 right now at O'Hare. And then tomorrow, pleasant with partial sunshine, a high again of 84 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Anybody speeding today? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Right now, there's plenty of room to do it. No delays at all on the Edens or the Kennedy at this hour. The Eisenhower still fine, too. At Stevenson as well. After some overnight road work wrapped up. Inbound ride's a little heavy. Canalport to downtown Chicago, 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 Bishopport, just with 2 to 3 minute delays approaching the merge. The tollways are all fine. Northwest Indiana looks good. Downtown Chicago, Monroe is now closed off. In Columbus, Lakeshore Drive for Lollapalooza. That's going to be a big traffic event this weekend. The event starts on Thursday, and the closures downtown will be extended tonight. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Deb, I'm so done with today. Traffic was awful. I couldn't stop for coffee. I have conference calls all morning, plus all these reports to go through. And look, it's 75 and sunny, and I'm stuck in here.
Relax, it's gonna be an awesome day. Corporate is throwing a picnic in the parking lot for lunch, and they ordered tasty catering.
What? Did I miss the memo?
Apparently. It's gonna be great. They got burgers, grilled chicken, sides, the works. You know, Tasty Catering's picnic food is excellent.
Oh yeah, I know. We had them for our holiday party.
Today, they're bringing out the Make Your Own Burger Creation Station. They have everything you can think of, like sriracha, blue cheese crumbles, bacon, sautéed mushrooms, and caramelized onions. And they serve it straight off the grill, the way a great burger should be.
Okay, maybe there's still hope for today. I just hope I don't spill mustard on this new tie. Good thing I've got my bib.
You have a bib?
You don't?
Tasty Catering's picnic menu has all the delicious summertime food favorites you crave and more. Go to tastycatering.com to peruse mouth-watering picnic menus and start planning your picnic today. tastycatering.com.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore. The chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch, it looked awful. But thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours, and when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business, and it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, CERTA, or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy talking about the switch out as chief of staff for President Trump. Reince Priebus out and DHS Secretary John Kelly in. And, you know, Secretary Kelly is being well received as an informed choice. And if he can bring discipline, that's great. Also, if he can put some stick about, to borrow a House of Cardsism, the original House of Cards, folks.
Yeah,
not the
this,
Kevin Spacey version.
Not
okay?
the U.S. knockoff version.
Go back to the BBC.
The bye-bye site.
Here's a little reminder of Secretary Kelly, and a good example. This was just from a couple months ago, testifying on the Hill. A little exchange he had with Senator Kamala Harris, who doesn't like to let people finish an answer to a question she's asked. As you know, this is Harris and Kelly on sanctuary cities.
Imagine, sir, if you will, that you were a local law enforcement leader, presented with a choice of either complying with federal law that means that you may expose your department and your jurisdiction to civil liability, or forfeiting DHS funds that are designed and intended to help you fight terrorism at a local level. Wouldn't you agree that puts those law enforcement leaders in it's almost a Hobbesian choice?
Well, Senator,
how are they supposed to choose?
Had you not cut me off, I would have said the same thing you just said. Probably not as eloquently, but I'd have said the same thing you said. I appreciate the fix they're in. I appreciate that they get their legal advice from the state and locals. Below the radar, we work with every police and sheriff department in this country to the degree that they can and are comfortable with.
Yeah, that's the genius of Kamala Harris. Hobbesian choice. Hobson's choice, you nitwit.
But General Kelly, I mean, he's served in different theaters of war. He's going to have to work with some bizarre personalities in the White House. Bannon, Scaramucci. I mean, he's got a full plate in front of him.
Yeah, Jack Klugman and Tony Randall have nothing on Kelly and Scaramucci, that's for sure. Yeah, a little bit more General Harris.
We talk to them about whatever they're comfortable with, whatever they think they can do within the interpretation of their local attorneys general, as an example, or local lawyers.
So when they're instructed,
excuse
Senator, me, I'm asking the questions.
But I'm trying to answer the question.
When they tell you, as I know local police chiefs are being told, that it would expose their municipality to civil liability if they comply with the detainer request, are you telling them that you will not withhold the DHS federal funding that they rely on?
Okay, before I start to answer, will you let me finish?
If it's responsive to the question, of course.
Oh, she's so annoying. Oh.
Yeah.
He was very diplomatic with her, though. Very level-headed, did not lose his cool.
Level-headed to an extent. Annie in Lakeview, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, good morning. I think it's very scary what he has around him, President Trump. He has generals, businessmen, and family, Kushner. Isn't General Kelly the one who went with Kushner to the Middle East? Does he get along with Kushner? Is that why he was selected?
Well, he was already the Homeland Security Secretary.
Yeah, he was.
So.
But I think it's, did you say casino workers?
No, I said that was a comparison that was made by Wall Street Journal editorial.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
thanks,
Bye.
Annie. Appreciate that.
Good morning. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It turns out the mooch's wife can't stand him any more than I can at 5:38.
And later, Chris Christie gets in the face of a Cub fan, but what you didn't see on that tape, we'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 68 degrees in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. U.S. Ambassador to the U.N. says the U.S. is done talking about North Korea. After that nation's latest ballistic missile test, on Twitter, Nikki Haley calling out China, Japan, and South Korea for needing to apply more pressure in the region to the north. Tom Price saying Obamacare is failing not just in states, but the entire nation. Speaking on NBC, the Health and Human Services Secretary was asked about claims the Affordable Health Care Act was imploding, and he replied with specifics.
The role of the Health and Human Services Department is to improve the health, the safety, and the well-being of the American people. And what we understand, what the American people understand, is that their health and well-being is being harmed right now by the current law.
He says the administration's goal was to repeal and replace Obamacare, but they will put in a system in place that actually works for patients. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly replaces Reince Priebus as White House Chief of Staff, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway.
If we can have protocol, pecking order, discipline, and a chief of staff that empowers the staff to succeed, and so we have great faith that that will be done.
The change announced by President Trump on Twitter on Friday. Venezuelan authorities are claiming more than double the voter turnout reported by opponents and outside observers to create what's being called a constitutional assembly to endow President Nicolas Maduro's ruling socialist leftist party with virtually unlimited power. Some Illinois schools are about 2 weeks away from opening their doors, which is why Governor Bruce Rauner wants the latest school plan cooked up by Democrats on his desk as soon as possible so he can strip out extra money for a Chicago school bailout, then send that plan back to lawmakers. Chicago man accused of having a loaded weapon at a CTA station on the north side over the weekend. Jordan Watkins appeared in court yesterday on multiple charges, including unlawful use of a weapon by a parolee. Cubs beat the Brewers 4-2 on Sunday. Sox snap a 7-game home losing streak with a 3-1 victory over the Indians. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher can always count on the Democrats.
I'm being told that Donald Trump Jr. took a meeting with a Russian lawyer in which no law was broken. At least the Democrats aren't overreacting. What's this? Senator Tim Kaine?
This is moving into perjury, false statements, and even into potentially treason.
Yep, you can count on the Dems.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
All right, I know you're bombarded with MyPillow ads everywhere you turn, not only from me, but on TV, billboards, and in print. But the reason is simple. It's the best pillow available. You deserve a restful and relaxing summer. And the July radio deal using my name, Amy, in the promo code is the best deal available. It's the 50% discount on a MyPillow 4-pack, including 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for half the price. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need regardless of sleep position. You'll sleep deep and won't wake up to a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them in America using only American labor. You can wash and dry them. They're hypoallergenic. And you get a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is the world's most experienced hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now, we're giving everyone who texts GROW to 543-543. An absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
536. This updated service of Boost Mobile. Switch to Boost. Get 2 lines, 3 gigs of 4G LTE data per line for only $50. Plus, up to 2 free LG X Power phones, all powered by the fast and reliable Sprint nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike and Niles. Just crashed on Harlem right at Oakton. We have some heavy traffic now on westbound 190 at O'Hare, River Road to the Tri-State, and the Kennedy getting a little heavy approaching 190. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower slow 25th Avenue to 17th. 30 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Inbound Stevenson, 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. On Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 425. Northbound Tri-State a little heavy, approaching 290. Traffic service for Staples. Staples has low prices on everything your kids need to head back to school with confidence for less. Right now, 5-star 1-subject notebooks. Elmer's 6+ 2-packs of glue sticks and 4-packs of 3x3 yellow Post-it notes are just $2.50. While supplies last, ends 8/5, limit 5, in-store only. Staples, it's pro time. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Sunny and pleasant. High of 84 today, partly cloudy and 66 overnight. Pleasant day ahead tomorrow with partial sunshine and a high of 84. 68 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And the question I have about the news over the weekend that fresh off his appointment as White House comm director, Anthony Scaramucci's wife filed for divorce. My only question,
why did she marry him in the first place?
No, that's not my question. My question is, how did she last 3 years?
Oh.
She said she liked, according to Page 6, the gossip column of record on these things.
Yeah, but they're properly vetted. I like Page 6.
That's, I guess, why I said they're the gossip
yes,
column of
thank
record.
you.
She liked their kind of Tony, quiet Wall Street life, and did not want to be embroiled in the eye of the political storm in D.C., and was tired of the Mooch's naked ambition. Well, who isn't? And we've only known him for a week.
Don't know how that lasts, but she filed for divorce while she was 9 months pregnant. And guess what happened the other day? Remember the Boy Scout speech that Trump gave in West Virginia? Remember that?
Yes, I remember. I remember last week. Yes.
I'm talking to you. Hello.
Yeah.
Well, she gave birth during that speech. So she went into labor early. Actually, the baby's in the neonatal unit this morning. They had a boy, but he wasn't there. And both attorneys said it was just
is his name the Gooch?
No, Mini Gooch. Mini.
Well, he's the Mooch.
Mooch, so he'd be the Gooch.
Well, I'm I'm just suggesting the gooch, but okay, never mind.
So
Anyway, go on, please.
So they said that there was discussion between him and her and the divorce attorneys about Anthony going to the hospital, but unfortunately the delivery was sudden, so he couldn't make it there for his son's birth. Yeah, so now they have to work on parenting agreements as well as the divorce.
Yes, well, that's what happens in divorce. They have 2 kids, as I understand it, from page 6. Yeah, okay. So...
And he tweeted, "Leave civilians out of this. I can take the hits, but I will ask that you would put my family in your thoughts and prayers and nothing more."
What? I'm sorry. Where? That can't be the complete statement. Where's the profanity?
Well, when he was talking about his family and his newborn son, he left any profanity out of it. This is actually a normal tweet.
That doesn't sound like the mooch.
No, it doesn't.
I think that's a fake account or somebody's gained control of his Twitter account. Because that doesn't sound like the mooch at all.
They say that the couple wants an amicable divorce.
Yeah, okay. All right. We can dispense with the pro forma statements from divorce attorneys, please. The more interesting thing is I've got a little game I want to play.
Oh, okay, Dad.
Yeah. 3 individuals have made major motion picture cameos. The Mooch, the Donald, and the Amy. Which is the best motion picture cameo? All right? Which is the best motion picture cameo? Now we need to
312-642-5600.
We need to pull forward Amy and U.S. Marshals, so we need to get that by.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
we got to get the elongated by like the real.
Yeah, that's right. We got it.
Oh, we got it? Okay, fine. Hold stand by. Okay, there you go.
This is why she was on screen and not on the technical side. Scaramucci, here's Scaramucci in Wall Street 2. Money Never Sleeps. Listen closely.
Okay.
Churchill Swords has a huge position in this thing. I want to get short that stock.
There it
Okay. I need a New York translation, please.
He's on the phone. He's one of those split screen things that Wall Street 2 did, which was, by the way, a terrible movie. Yeah.
Did you sit all the way through it?
Oliver Stone lost his touch. Scaramucci again.
Yeah.
Again, so you have the opportunity to judge his acting chops.
Churchill Swords has a huge position in this thing. I want to get short that stock.
Huge position. A little Trumpian even.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Scaramucci.
Okay.
Here's Trump in a barber shop with Gordon Gekko. Now, this is a bit longer. Well, he has a little bit more profile than the mooch, so he got a little bit longer cameo.
Hey, is this the one and only Gordon Gekko?
Hey, Donald. What are you talking about? You're the one and only.
So now I've got competition. It's a great place to get a haircut.
I love this place. I've been coming here since the 80s.
Well, the 80s are no longer, Gordo. The world is a tough place. How's life, Gordo?
Life is fine, especially with a hot new hedge fund. Enjoying my exile here in London.
Hot new hedge fund? Are you kidding? The economy's terrible. But you know what? Send me the details. Has anyone ever told you that you'd look great, really great, in a comb over?
No, Donald, I'm a Joe man myself.
Hey, whatever makes you happy, pal.
Yeah, now that's the secret. Stay happy.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
How about that? That exchange. Trump and Michael Douglas, Gordon Gekko, in Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps. Both Scaramucci and Trump. Cameos.
Wow, I wonder how that happened.
So there's your first 2 entries.
And now we present the best entry.
Who gets a Razzie and who gets an Oscar? You decide. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Here's Amy Jacobson with Tommy Lee Jones also in that movie.
And Wesley Snipes.
Amy Jacobson, the headliner. Amy Jacobson in U.S. Marshals.
Deputy, do you have anything to add?
No.
Clearly.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
That's
clearly. I won that competition because the diction, the projection of my voice, you can hear what I'm saying. You don't have to play it twice like Scaramucci because I couldn't understand what he was saying because he's talking New York.
That put me at the crime scene. That's so powerful.
Or at the courthouse, but okay.
Also, I'll also take calls in terms of which was the worst of these two ghastly movies, U.S. Marshals or Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps.
Wall Street 2 was unwatchable. U.S. Marshals
mostly
was
because of Shia LaBeouf.
pretty good.
It's terrible. It was also poorly written.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly,
Again, Scaramucci.
Short Swords has a huge position in this thing. I want to get short that stock.
Huge position. Amy Jacobson inquiring to law enforcement.
Deputy, do you have anything to add?
No.
See, but the first part of the clip was, I said, do you feel that your client was exonerated by this court hearing? And then somebody else asked a question, and then I said, Deputy, do you have anything to add?
What happened to that first part? Was it cutting room floor?
No, it made it on the big screen, and I'm still getting, checks. One time I got a check for 3 cents. Well, actually 5 cents, but after taxes, 3 cents.
Yeah.
Keith Conrad laughed, our executive producer. He never cashed that check. And
Wesley Snipes doesn't even get those checks. They go right to the IRS
Exactly.
to pay off his liens.
And it's still playing in Germany. I got a check for $17 last month.
That's nice.
Yeah.
The Germans seem to love terrible
love
American cinema.
Germans love U.S. Marshals.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure Wall Street, too, they're not getting any checks.
Well,
any royalty checks anymore because that movie stunk.
This will be even a better game when you replace Scaramucci as White House Communications Director. Now, there's a little bit of a trick in this.
Oh, okay.
The Trump clip
is
disqualified.
Why?
Because it didn't make the movie. Trump was cut. That clip you saw or you heard of Trump and Gordon Gekko at the barbershop didn't make the movie. Oliver Stone nixed it. So it's down to Scaramucci, the Mooch, and the Amy. And,
come on, just say it. Go with the blonde. Come on. Hello?
I think Scaramucci is a natural blonde. And I won't say who else may or may not be a natural blonde.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Just wait till you get asked to be in a movie, Dan. Mm-hmm. You're going to say yes.
Yeah, still waiting for my big break. That's why I'm doing this show. This is the, conservative version of waiting tables.
Today, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 84 degrees. And the party continues tomorrow. It'll be just a beautiful day, a high of 84. And on Wednesday, that's when we could see a chance of a shower or thunderstorm during the day. Now let's get the travel forecast. Here's Jim Telemonte in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Thanks, Dan. On the Edens, it's all clear right now. The Kennedy's looking good, but it's getting a little heavy outbound approaching 190. There are delays on 190 heading to O'Hare. Slow from the River Road toll to the Tri-State. Inbound Eisenhower, slow Manheim to 17. 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 423. Monroe now closed downtown for Lollapalooza setup in Columbus and Lakeshore Drive. Columbus will close in both directions between Monroe and Roosevelt starting tonight at 8. Right now it's only closed southbound. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
A couple of texts from Steve on 88. The son of Mooch would be called Moochini. Yes, correct. Thank you. And then from 847, the only person more popular in Germany than David Hasselhoff, the Amy.
Thank you. Hey, it's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin. With overnight stay packages for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee, you can spend the night in Molly's room. It's a 2-room luxury suite. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $85 per couple. Now, if you need to stay closer to home but want a night out, laugh out loud and be a part of the show at Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets are normally $44 a pair, but find them at CRD for only $22. And be sure to get your car ready for summer cruising with a deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash package includes wash, vacuum, windows, dash, an $18 deal for only $10. Fun and adventure is waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. aircomfort.com.
Yes, indeed, summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot, gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. President Trump is a fighter. He is a counterintuitive counterpuncher, said Trump's mini-me, Scaramucci. Those are nice euphemisms, but what I see lately from Trump is wild, overhand looping punches, not Floyd Mayweather Jr. The quality of the fight, the why and the how matters. If it is to courageously and consistently make the case for policies in furtherance of first principles, that is a good fight. If it is to use temper tantrums as tactics to blame shift responsibility for predicaments onto subordinates and independent allies, that is not a good fight. Trump still conveys an understanding of who he is fighting for, but his public ridicule of AG Sessions and tolerance of the cartoonish antics of his communications director/impersonator will erode his base support if both do not stop. If, as Sun Tzu argued, the art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, Trump's public fighting with his allies, through his enemies in the D.C. press corps no less, is subduing his chances for a successful presidency. Public spectacles are not necessary to identify and root out enemies inside the president's perimeter as needed. The first rule of Political Fight Club: don't tweet about it.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're purchasing a home, give me a call. A borrower called me after contacting the lender, who boasts about having the lowest rates and closing costs, because he thought my competitors' closing costs were excessively high. I compared loan estimates and the interest rates were identical, but our definitions of low closing costs were a lot different. Fact is, my closing costs were over $1,000 less than the lender claiming to have the lowest closing costs. When purchasing a home, you can either work with the lender, who talks and talks and talks and talks about low closing costs, or you can work with me, a lender who actually has low closing costs. Then think of all the things you could do with an extra $1,000 when we originate your loan, like pay for the movers, buy a new computer, new TV, maybe new carpet for your new house. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License T 4358, and MLS 19186.
Hey guys, Ken here from the award-winning podcast Today's Growth. If you had to choose sides, which camp would you rather be in? Would you rather have time and no money, or money and no time? Did you know that 95% of U.S. adults by choice have settled into these categories? Much more interesting is that 1 out of 20 people have built their life around achieving simultaneous control of both time and money. What choices did these 5% make that the others didn't? My friends at Income Store have shown both households and businesses how to build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams for the express purpose of gaining control of time. When it comes to helping folks create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Go to IncomeStore.com today. That's incomestore.com.
Are all insurance agents the same? Well, I'd like to think I will work a little harder to give you the personal touch you need when it comes to protecting your family and hard-earned assets. My name is Tom Murray, and I'm an agent with Allstate Insurance, and we take our motto very seriously. You are, in fact, in good hands with us. I'm a longtime listener of AM 560. We have much in common, and believe me when I say I share your values and concerns. And I have never earned less than a 5-star rating with every single social media venue like Google, Yelp, and others because I deal directly with you and your concerns. Call me, Tom Murray, directly, and let's see if we can save you some money and make sure that the insurance you have on your life, auto, home, and health is the right coverage for you. Give me 15 minutes, and if I can't save you some money, I'll give you a $10 gift card to Starbucks. 847-380-1590 or Google Tom Murray Allstate and visit my website. 847-380-1590. That's 847-380-1590.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
5:57 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the outbound Edens Expressway at Tower Road, watch out for some debris reported in the two right lanes there. On the outbound side, the Kennedy inbound, heavy Foster to Lawrence, and outbound Foster to Sayre. The travel time's 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 24, and westbound 190. It's now stop and go from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. Outbound Eisenhower, 33 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 29, Stevenson, 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Mission Ford, 21. Northwest Indiana's fine. Traffic service of Staples. Staples has low prices on everything your kids need to head back to school with confidence for less. Right now, 5-star, 1-subject notebooks. Elmer's 6+ 2-packs of glue sticks and 4 packs of 3x3 yellow Post-it notes are just $2.50. While supplies last. Ends 8/5. Limit 5. In-store only. Staples. It's pro time. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center and our meteorologist Chris Morelli.
Today, mostly sunny and pleasant, high 84. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tuesday, pleasant with partial sunshine, high 84. Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm, high once again 84. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
68 at O'Hare, 58 this morning in Aurora. The news, the service of Lowe's. Get an extra 5% off purchases every day at Lowe's on items big or small when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval and can't be combined with any other credit offer. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. At 5:59 in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom, here are the stories we're following. Illinois schools about 2 weeks from opening their doors, which is why Governor Bruce Rauner wants the latest plan to pay for schools on his desk as soon as possible so he can strip out a bailout for Chicago Public Schools teachers' pension. Illinois Democrats, fearful of a backlash over their out-of-balance budget and massive tax hike, are skipping one of their political traditions this year, State Fair Day at the Illinois State Fair. One woman is dead, struck by a vehicle on Chicago's west side. Chicago's mass transit agencies gearing up for Lollapalooza. Cubs beat the Brewers, while the White Sox were winners over the Indians. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
He used to secure America. Now he'll try to restore order at the White House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. John Kelly will take over as new chief of staff in a few hours. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, General John Kelly is moving from the Homeland Security Department to the West Wing. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, says Kelly can bring military order to the administration.
Protocol, pecking order, discipline, and a chief of staff that empowers the staff to succeed.
General Kelly replaces Reince Priebus as chief of staff and leaves the top spot at the Homeland Security Department vacant. Last week, the new White House Communications Director, Anthony Scaramucci, accused Priebus of leaking to the press. Dave.
Rachel, two big issues to deal with. North Korea continuing its missile tests and its nuclear threat. Russia, which is reacting to new U.S. sanctions. President Trump will sign into law by ordering the U.S. to cut diplomatic staff in Russia by 755 people. Vice President Pence is in a former Soviet country turned ally. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, speaking in Estonia, the vice president calling Russia the unpredictable neighbor to the east.
Russia continues to seek to redraw international borders by force, undermine democracies of sovereign nations, and divide the free nations of Europe one against another.
Vice President Pence holding talks with Estonia's president, along with the leaders of the other Baltic states, Latvia and Lithuania, all NATO members. He said the U.S. rejects aggression against any of its treaty allies. He later travels to Georgia and Montenegro. Dave?
Simon, the U.S. is considering sanctions on Venezuela, where police clashes with protests turned deadly. Yet again, at least 10 were killed as Venezuelans voted to give President Maduro unchecked power to rewrite the Constitution. There's a manhunt in Alabama for the last of 12 prisoners who made a jailbreak last night in Walker County. The other 11 were recaptured overnight. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
This summer, everybody is talking about one person. And on August 22nd, we want to hear what you have to say about President Donald Trump. Join AM 560's Joe Walsh for the Summer of Trump as he welcomes Hugh Hewitt and Guy Benson to the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Join the debate as they discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly moments of the Trump administration. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/summer. Sponsored in part by Storlock and by Best Dental Group.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%. APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We'll get back to Operation Chaos in the Trump administration. But on this show, we try to get beyond just the surface skimming headlines and the cloakroom antics in politics, particularly as it pertains to the Trump administration, although certainly that would include Chicago and the state of Illinois as well. Try and give a little bit more value add, make people think a little bit, like Dennis Prager does, our colleague in sound. So today is Milton Friedman's birthday. He's the most important economist in the last 100 years in the world. He made economics accessible to people, to the kind of the average guy, Johnny Lunch Pail and Sally Housecoat, more so than any other economist during his lifetime. And his ideas persist, so today's a good day to give a friend Capitalism and Freedom. or turn a friend on to Free to Choose the book or Free to Choose the long-running series he did, explaining economics in concrete terms. Like
Which one is your favorite book?
How it impacts your life. Capitalism and Freedom, but his Free to Choose series that he did with his wife, Rose, is excellent. He's
two lucky people.
he was really kind of a popular figure, like a pop culture figure during his time, in part because of his appearances on shows like Phil Donahue, which was, of course, the long-running afternoon talk show, and where they got into these discussions you don't hear very much today in the cable news world. And you certainly, obviously, daytime programming, everybody's just taking paternity tests. So that's not exactly where we were some 20, 30 years ago. Here's in 1979, one of his more famous interviews and exchanges with Phil Donahue in 1979 about capitalism and capitalism versus greed and capitalism versus equality. Listen to this, because now some 30 years later, we're having the same conversations. I mean, almost 40 years later, having the same conversation, the same debate. And, oh, by the way, in many circles, particularly the modern incarnation of the Democrat Party, capitalism is a bad word. Listen to this exchange.
When you see around the globe the maldistribution of wealth, the desperate plight of millions of people in underdeveloped countries, when you see so few haves and so many have-nots, when you see the greed and the concentration of power within, did you ever have a moment of doubt about capitalism and whether greed's a good idea to run on?
Well, first of all, tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? What is greed? Of course, none of us are greedy. It's only the other fellow who's greedy. The world runs on individuals pursuing their separate interests. The great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus. Einstein didn't construct his theory under order from a bureaucrat. Henry Ford didn't revolutionize the automobile industry that way. In the only cases in which the masses have escaped from the kind of grinding poverty you're talking about, the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade. If you want to know where the masses are worst off, it's exactly in the kinds of societies that depart from that. So that the record of history is absolutely crystal clear, that there is no alternative way so far discovered of improving the lot of the ordinary people that can hold a candle to the productive activities that are unleashed by a free enterprise system.
But it seems to reward not virtue as much as ability to manipulate the system.
And what does reward virtue? You think a communist commissar rewards virtue? You think a Hitler rewards virtue? You think, excuse me, if you'll pardon me, do you think American presidents reward virtue? Do they choose their appointees on the basis of the virtue of the people appointed or on the basis of their political clout? Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that.
Where do you find these angels that are organized society for us? Is political self-interest so much more virtuous than economic self-interest? Or do you think that politicians act selflessly and courageously? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. There's a message in there for a lot of people in nearly 40 years later, talking about capitalism and free trade, President Trump. And understanding that there is no virtue to be found in the collective wisdom of government. The folly of suggesting private vice becomes public virtue when you add a title before someone's name. Political self-interest is more noble than economic self-interest, is it? Does it produce better results? As Friedman said, and many others too, but the great mistakes is to judge policies and programs by their intentions rather than their results. Well, how many people do that today? The majority? In this state, they do. In a lot of places, they do. The good intentions, because these are virtuous people that are acting selflessly, not in their political self-interest in public office. Does anybody actually believe that if you stopped and thought about it for a second? If you actually watched what people say and compared to what they do, and then asked yourself that question again?
Well, are there any virtuous politicians out there?
Yeah, there are. We're all sinners. We're all inherently bad, and some people do a better job of aspiring to good than other people. Some people do a better job of connecting their good intentions to results and measure themselves by results rather than good intentions. Some people try to live the Ten Commandments and the Beatitudes, and other people try less so to do so. So, yeah. I mean, the point is not there's only bad people in government. The point is we're all bad people. So remember that when you entrust so much power in the hands of a few bad people. That's the point. It's not that anybody in public office is any better or worse than anybody else generally. The point is that persuasion and mutually beneficial exchanges are a better way to organize a free society than the command control direction that we seem to be going. Because of exactly what Friedman said at the end of Donahue. Where are these angels that are going to descend to organize our society for us? Yeah, they don't exist. And here's something else in terms of what capitalism has produced. And I'm happy to entertain government-directed research is responsible for some of this. Yeah, okay. Here's what capitalism has produced. Let me start with the premise, and this is a list of 50 reasons we're living through the greatest period in world history that was organized by Morgan Housel over at the Motley Fool blog, and it was recast by Mark Perry over at Carpe Diem blog at the American Enterprise Institute. But the premise is this: only 4% of humans get to live in America, and most people listening to this show, I assume, are among the 4%. We've got it made. Be thankful. We're living in the greatest period in history. For example, 2% of American homes had electricity in 1900. J.P. Morgan, the man, was one of the first to install electricity in his home. It required a private power plant on his property.
Oh, my God.
Even by 1950, close to 30% of American homes didn't have electricity. It wasn't until the late 70s that virtually all homes were powered. Adjusted for wage growth, electricity cost more than 10 times as much in 1900 as it does today. According to the Federal Reserve, the number of lifetime years spent in leisure, retirement plus time off during your working years, rose from 11 years in 1870 to 35 years by 1990 to close to 40 years today. Half your life in leisure. Talking about America here. Median household income adjusted for inflation was around $25,000 during the 1950s. It's nearly double that amount today, real terms. According to census, only 1 in 10 Americans had air conditioning in 1960, rose to 49% in 1973, 89% today. The 11% that don't are mostly in cold climates, so it's choice.
Did you have AC growing up?
Yes. You didn't in Mount Prospect?
No.
Well, but you lived in a nudist colony. You don't want AC. It gets,
No, we didn't. We finally got a window unit, so on hot nights, everyone would grab a sleeping bag and sleep on the floor.
There you go.
Because when we were tough, man.
Yeah, right. Growing up in the rough streets of Mount Prospect.
It's the mean streets of Mount Prospect.
Yeah,
you really had central air?
What
That's
a
nice.
what a heroic.
Wheaton is so advanced. I had no idea.
Yeah, you've really overcome so much.
That's
from Mount Prospect. Almost no homes had a refrigerator in 1900.
I can believe that.
Today they sell cars with refrigerators in them.
They do. They do.
Adjusted for inflation, the average cost of the cost of an average round trip airline ticket fell 50% from 1978 to 2011. Deregulation. The average new home now has more bathrooms than occupants.
Yeah, the whole thing of every child having their own bathroom, I just think it sends a bad message. You have to learn how to share.
The cost of an average new car has fallen fourfold since 1915 in real terms. Google Maps is free. If you think about this for a few moments, it's astounding. It's probably the single most useful piece of software ever invented, Google Maps, and it's free
Yeah.
for anyone to use.
I love it.
The average American work week has declined from 66 hours in 1850 to 51 hours in 1909 to 34.8 hours today. Going back to the amount of leisure time.
Mhm.
Incomes have grown much faster than food prices. The average American household now spends less than half as much of its income on food as it did in the 1950s. It's declined cost of food more than 90% since the 19th century. 44% of American jobs were in farming in 1900. Today, 2% are. Because we've become more efficient at feeding ourselves. So we can work, nearly half the population can work on other stuff. A 3-minute phone call from New York to San Francisco cost $341 in 1915.
Wow.
$12.66 in 1960. Today, Republic Wireless offers unlimited talk, text, and data for $5 a month. You need an annual income of $34,000 to be in the richest 1% of people in the world. In the world. To be in the top half of the globe, you need to just earn $1,225 a year. For the top 20%, it's $5,000 per year. Top 10%, $12,000 a year. Top 0.1% in the world, 0.1% requires an annual income of $70,000. America's poorest are some of the world's richest.
Mm-hmm.
Living in the greatest time in human history in America in 2017. Robert in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, I don't have a problem with free trade as long as we free trade with countries that share our values. I don't think we should have free trade with China or some communist countries where the government owns 60 or 70% of every corporation. I think that's ridiculous.
Why?
Why? Because they are a population that's 3 times the size of this country, and eventually they will eat us. They will eat us economically because of their population, as long as they stay communist. If they don't stay communist, they'll have a civil war, which will cause all kinds of chaos.
No.
It'll be unbelievable.
No, I don't think so. Thanks for the call, Robert. I don't think so. In point of fact, the reason that China has not realized the economic power of their population is precisely because of what you said at the outset, that the government owns more than 50% of the means of production, and a majority of the Chinese population is poor and, frankly, agrarian still. And so that's why. So actually, the Chinese government remaining communist poses no economic threat to us, really. Not in terms of supplanting us or being the world superpower, because their system of governance precludes it, which is why we should move at a fast pace away from central planning, not towards it. And again, when you talk about trade, you look at trade through the eye of the consumer. That's where the morality is. That's what Walmart did, right? Make everyday goods more accessible for low-income families. That was Sam Walton's purpose in pursuing his capitalist vision that made him one of the richest and his family one of the richest in the world during his ascendancy. And obviously, still, Walmart today employs 1 million people. That's capitalism. Chinese communism, yeah, it's Potemkin. Have you seen the videos of the shopping malls that they build that no one goes to, the shoddy construction that are empty because they have to find things for people to do, because their philosophy is the Chinese Communist Party has the secret knowledge of how to organize society for 1 billion people. And they're wrong. Just as the modern Democrat Party is wrong about organizing society from D.C. for 330 million people. And it's amazing to me, again, as I said at the outset, how many people need to relearn the Econ 101 lessons that Milton Friedman spent his life proselytizing, and thankfully he did. And so many people need to be introduced to them so they don't go down the path of Comrade Bernie and even to some extent Donald Trump in what is all courant in 2017.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, was he hangry? That means you're hungry and you're angry, you're hangry. The big man, Chris Christie, goes off on a Cub fan. Was it a good reaction. But first, here's your forecast. We're going to have a string of beautiful days today and tomorrow. It's going to be mostly sunny, a high in the mid-80s. Some rain around here on Wednesday, a thunderstorm possible in the afternoon. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Inbound Eden's a little heavy approaching the junction. 20 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound, it's fine. 19 minutes. Kennedy, you get 23 minutes. So O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, 31. The delays start at Montrose, and then westbound 190 has stop-and-go traffic from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. About Eisenhower. You can get 36 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound, 32. The Stevenson, 52 minutes. 3:55 to the drive. Outbound, 36. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. Bishop Ford, both 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge. The only tollway delay, northbound Tri-State, 294. It's heavy St. Charles to the Grand Avenue curve. Northwest Indiana's fine. I'm Jim Telemonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Dan Proft here with an important message for Chicagoland business owners. If you own or rent your building, chances are that you're paying more than your fair share of property taxes. Ask yourself this question. If you could lower your property taxes with the help of licensed professionals who have an 80% average success rate, yes, you heard that right, an 80% success rate, lowering business owners' property taxes, would you do that? Corporate Valuation Advisors has reduced their clients' property taxes on average by 20% over their 25-year service history throughout the greater Chicagoland area. Here's a Corporate Valuation Advisor's recent property tax savings success story from a local Chicago business owner. Their first year of property tax savings equaled $26,265. The total four-year property tax savings equaled $104,679. Call Corporate Valuation Advisors. They can help. 630-923-5371. That's 630-923-5371. You can also find them at yourfairtax.com or visit 560theanswer.com and look for the Corporate Valuation Advisors banner.
Message and data rates may apply.
What does home security look like in 2017? It's not strangers drilling holes in your walls. It's not big names making empty promises. In 2017, thanks to some out-of-the-box thinking, FrontPoint Home Security is 100% wireless with cellular monitoring and is ready to set up right out of the box. Plus, it's backed up by the best customer service in the industry. Experience the next generation of home security with FrontPoint. For a free quote, text the keyword FAMILY to 642-642. FrontPoint can be controlled right from your smartphone, so you can remotely control your lights, thermostat, and door locks. With text and email alerts, live video streaming, night vision, and professional monitoring 24/7, your home is protected with us. Ready, set, secure. It's that easy. Protect your family right out of the box with FrontPoint. We deliver it, you unbox it. For your free quote, text FAMILY to 642-642 on your smartphone. That's FAMILY to 642-642.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. A free book to help get the most income in retirement from TV host Josh Melberg has been released. Grab a pen right now because we're about to offer this free book that reveals simple-to-understand truths about annuity strategies. Call 800-885-4477 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today and a free DVD on how you can get more income in retirement. Like James, 57. He wants to retire in 10 years but is afraid he might outlive his savings. He'll receive more than $49,000 of guaranteed income per year for life using Next Gen Annuity Strategies with a $490,000 annuity. That's $49,000 per year for the rest of his life, no matter how long he lives. Call 800-885-4477 to get your free information kit. That's 800-885-4477. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength of the insurance company. Hypothetical examples. Increased income is possible following a specific strategy suited to your financial goals.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
We'll get to the big boy, Chris Christie, in a second, but quickly, Ron on the South Side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Ron.
Hey.
Can you hear me, Dan?
Yep, you're on.
Okay, real quick. The more I read stuff you choose, the more I enjoy it. But two things, Dan. I know you often use Walmart as a model of capitalism, but how do you respond to those who say those workers at Walmart have to be subsidized for some form of health care because the company doesn't cover it? But then lastly, Dan, I know when you compare the poor in this country with the poor in other countries, but what about when you compare the poor? The argument that the poor people, the divide between the poor and those who have some form of wealth has widened. So how do you make that comparison as far as assessing progress if it has widened? I'll hang up and listen to your question. Answer. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Understand something. Walmart, first store Sam Walton opened, 1962. He was 44 years old, interestingly enough. So, you think you got to figure it all out in your 20s, not necessarily. 44 years old, 1962. So pre-Medicare and Medicaid. Mm-hmm. So whatever, I'm not exactly sure what Ron is referring to in terms of subsidies that Walmart employees or Walmart is accessing. But if you have big companies playing by the rules of the game, playing by the rent-seeking rules of the game that the government sets up, then the problem isn't the big companies as much. You don't have to be a rent seeker, so as much, note, as the government setting up those rules of the game. That's the problem. Going back to Milton Friedman's first postulate, the angels in government, the virtuous politically self-interested and the craven economically self-interested. Really? In terms of the wealth gap between the rich and the poor, like in this country, widening, sure. And you know when it was exacerbated the most in our country's history? The 8 years of President Obama. You know why? Because government is putting its finger on the lever for those rent seekers that I just mentioned and allowing it to be gamed. As the Institute for Justice is wont to say, and I give them credit because this is a great line that explains so much in one sentence, there's not too much money in politics, there's too much government for sale. Government is too big, too many goodies to hand out. So if you want to narrow the gap between the haves and the have-nots in this country, stop letting government be in the business of picking the haves and the have-nots, which is what they do. Create dependency on the one hand for political loyalty to feed the rent seekers who finance their political self-interest on the other side. That's how it actually works. That's actually the crux of the problem. And I appreciate the call from Ron to set up that discussion.
I don't know if we have time.
Oh, we got time.
Oh, we have time? Well, Chris Christie, did you see this video? Chris Christie was at the Cubs game. The Brewers played the Cubs for a 3-game series this weekend. He was there because his son works in the front office. And he went to... I
wonder how he got that job.
I have no... I'm sure his talent is what gave him that job. So he got... A Cub fan was shouting some things at him, saying that he sucked, calling him a hypocrite, because he shut down the beaches and he was on the beach. And Chris Christie didn't like it. And with a fresh bowl of nachos, got right in the Cubs fan's face.
Low-fat cheese.
Oh, I'm sure it was...
nachos.
Appreciate that.
What did he say to you?
Huh?
There was a Secret Service right there.
What did he say?
I don't know. You want to act like a big shot?
So this is the viral video, but he
doesn't have Secret Service.
He doesn't. But he's still currently the governor of New Jersey, so he has people.
For now.
Yeah. Yes, for now. He does have some security detail. But so here's the thing. That was the tail end of the conversation. But here's Brad Joseph, the Cub fan, and this is what he said to him. This is the rest of the story.
When he initially was going up the stairs, I yelled his name. He was already quite a bit past me and probably 30 feet away. I yelled his name and I told him that he sucked. I called him a hypocrite because I thought, it needed to be said. And he then turned around and walked all the way back towards me and got up in my face for what seemed like a long time. It was probably only about 30 seconds or a minute, but was yelling at me. First he told me, hey, why don't you have another beer, which I thought was kind of fun and plain full, a decent comeback, although we hadn't really been drinking at all. But So first he just said, have another beer, and I thought that was kind of funny, and maybe he was, taking it in stride, and then he started calling me a tough guy.
And then he went out like, you're a real big shot. Be quiet.
Shows Christie doesn't know anything about the North Side. Instead of have another beer, he should have said have another white wine spritzer. He doesn't know his audience. I wonder, my question for Brad Joseph, this would never get asked by the Chicago Press Corps.
Well,
okay.
what? They might find him today and ask him. What do you want him to ask him?
I want him to ask, okay, fine. Christie's a hypocrite because of the whole beach thing. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If Tiny Dancer walked down the aisle, what would you say to him? Great job, Mayor. What would you say to him, Northside liberal hack? That's what I want to know. Great job, Mayor. Another 400 murders already this year. Okay, keep it up, Mayor.
On July 18th, Christie was booed because guess what he did? During the Cardinals-Mets game, he caught a foul ball and everybody booed him there. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's nice that Christie has all this time to tour the country's ballparks.
Well,
what the hell is he doing?
His approval ratings are hovering in the mid-teens, which makes him the least popular governor in New Jersey history.
Yeah, have a bison burger and relax, big boy.
I would, if I were him, I'd get my money back for that lap band surgery. Really?
No, he's smaller.
If that's smaller, I can't imagine what he'd look like without that procedure.
Well, we saw him what he looked like before the procedure. He was bigger, so he needs...
What else does he need? I would put down the nachos. Maybe he was hangry. That's when you guys get hungry and you're angry because you're...
Yeah.
What we call it hangry. Is that a possibility?
Well, if he would have been at Comiskey, he could have a nice, wonderful dish of elotes, but can't get that at Wrigley. He probably could go for another lap band or two. Something a little sturdier. Or maybe he needs to, he is egg-shaped. Maybe he just needs to be broken in two and reconstituted like Humpty Dumpty.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get back to Trump and Mooch and General Kelly talk with Tim Carney at 6:36.
His first day on the job is today. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
I'm going to hold back.
No, don't hold back.
Maybe Cub fans should watch baseball game. Oh, they don't know how to do that. You go for the baseball game. Don't go for the accoutrements. 69 degrees, cloudy skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Russia is slashing the number of U.S. diplomats in its country by 755. Russian President Vladimir Putin said over the weekend the reduction to 455 diplomats in the country is roughly equal, he says, to the number of Russian diplomats in the U.S. President Trump's new White House chief of staff moves into the West Wing today. Outgoing Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly replaces Reince Priebus, who resigned under pressure last week. Trump counselor Kellyanne Conway.
I will do whatever the president and our new chief of staff, General Kelly, ask me to do.
Trump announcing the shakeup on Twitter Friday. Police in Arizona say 2 babies died. They were left alone in hot cars over the weekend. Phoenix police say a one-year-old boy died Saturday. He was left in the car for hours. Witnesses saw the boy in the car in a church parking lot and called police. Vice President Mike Pence pushing the strength of America's ties with Eastern Europe. Starting a tour of the region, Mike Pence stressed that America stands by the region on behalf of freedom, noting that President Trump's America First policy does not mean other countries in that region will stand alone. Shares in the company that owns Snapchat are about to flood the market. Starting today, people who own shares in Snap will be allowed to sell them for the first time since the firm's IPO in March. Some Illinois schools are about 2 weeks away from opening their doors, which is why Governor Bruce Rauner wants to get the latest plan to pay for schools on his desk as soon as possible. Rauner says he will strip out extra money for a Chicago teacher's pension bailout. Chicago man accused of having a loaded weapon at a CTA station on the north side over the weekend. Jordan Watkins appeared in court yesterday on multiple charges, including unlawful use of a weapon by a parolee. Cubs beat the Brewers 4-2 on Sunday. Sox snap a 7-game home losing skid with a 3-1 win over the Indians. They traded away Melky Cabrera to Kansas City shortly before first pitch. The news service of Staples with low prices on everything your kid needs to head back to school. Get everything they need for less at Staples, and right now composition books and 2-pocket poly folders are just 50 cents while supplies last. Limit 30 in store, 10 online, ends 9-2. Staples, it's pro time. 6:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes the GOP is fighting a tough battle.
I'm distressed because the Republican Party is up against the greatest addiction in the country. Addiction to benefits. The drug is benefits. You become so addicted to it that it becomes impossible to change. Impossible. This is how governments collapse.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
Your logo is your brand, your reputation. It's your most valuable asset. So what's the best thing to do with it? Give it away. When the experts at 4imprint put your logo on the right promotional products, giving those items away can make a lasting impression, empower your brand, and attract new customers. In fact, we'll prove it by revealing the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free. Simply text the keyword GIVE to 642-642. We don't just print your logo. We're here to help you every step of the way. The 4imprint team can make your logo shine on your choice of thousands of promotional items, all delivered on time at great prices with free art assistance and outstanding customer service that's second to none. Want to turn your logo into profit? Give it away. Discover the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free by texting GIVE to 642-642. That's GIVE to 642-642.
636. Check the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eden's Expressway inbound, it's slow from Cicero to Montrose. The travel time is 21 minutes from Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 20, inbound Kennedy. 28 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, 10 from Montrose, 8 in the Express. Outbound, though, 12 minutes to Montrose, 43 to the airport. Heavy Damon out to 190. Westbound 190 has delays from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. Inbound Eisenhower, 38 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 40. Inbound Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35 minutes. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 18 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Northbound Tri-State heavy, 95th to 75th, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Traffic is a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil, service, and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. We'll have a sunny and pleasant day ahead, high 84, partly cloudy, and 66 overnight. Currently, 69. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
No Victocrats allowed. Why? Because we've got a country to save. Join me, Larry Elder, tonight starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Priebus out and Homeland Security Secretary General John Kelly, now the White House Chief of Staff. Here's how Donald Trump addressed it on the tarmac as he was
pouring out.
Yeah, he was getting over to his home base of Long Island to give a speech at community college about law enforcement, particularly border enforcement. Here's what Trump said about the two men, Kelly and Priebus.
Mr. President, why Secretary Kelly? Why John Kelly?
Reince is a good man. John Kelly will do a fantastic job. General Kelly has been a star, done an incredible job thus far, respected by everybody, a great, great American. Reince Priebus, a good man. Thank you very much.
And he was holding his own umbrella. Did you notice that?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was great. This is his own man.
Yeah.
Takes care of his own business.
Okay, I guess if that symbolism is important to you, I guess then that's the right symbolism. Priebus gave his first interview to Wolf Blitzer on CNN, and he talked about still being on Team Trump. He was very, I would say, classy and professional in explaining what had transpired.
I've always said to him, and he always agreed with me, anytime either one of us think that we need to make a change or move in a different direction, let's just talk about it and get it done. And so I think the president thought about that, and we talked about it yesterday, and I resigned and he accepted my resignation. But this is about the president. It's about moving his agenda forward. I think he's made a smart decision with General Kelly, and I think he's going to do a great job. And I'm looking forward to the future. One other thing, I'm always going to be a Trump fan. I'm on Team Trump, and I look forward to helping him achieve his goals and his agenda for the American people.
Priebus went on to suggest that Trump's timing to hit the reset button is correct.
The president has a right to hit a reset button. I think it's a good time to hit the reset button. I think he was right to hit the reset button, and I think that it was something that I think the White House needs. I think it's healthy, and I support him in it.
Okay, well that certainly tamps down the controversy.
Well, and he didn't wade into the scuffle between Scaramucci and himself. You know, he said, I'm not going to do that. The palace intrigue is going to stop now.
The only thing he talked about Bannon, because the question is, does the house cleaning continue? And Steve Bannon, is he next to go? And he said, look, that's Kelly's decision, but I'm a big Steve Bannon fan. He's a genius. He thinks about the Trump agenda and the American people every day. And so, I think he served the president well, and that's a Kelly decision. So you weren't going to trip Priebus up over the weekend in those interviews because he's, a skilled hand at this. For more on the topic and the implications, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Tim Carney, senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So the question that everybody's asking, so I guess I'll be pedestrian and ask it too, is what are the prospects that General Kelly can tame Operation Chaos in the White House?
Yeah, the Republican congressman told my colleague Phil Wegman at the Examiner that what Kelly's job is to bring adult supervision. That was the exact quote, adult supervision. And the implication of that is that these are a bunch of kids running around the White House. And in a lot of ways, that's what it looks like is happening if you judge it by the consequence. The number of political newbies that are there. You've got Trump, who's brand new to this. You've got Trump's sort of inner circle from New York, Jared Kushner and Ivanka. You've got Gary Cohn, who's a very capable man, but also new to politics. And you've got Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller, who come from sort of the bomb-throwing populist world. And none of these are sort of the experienced political hands. And the point of Priebus was, well, he's been the RNC chairman. He's been a Republican official forever. He was supposed to bring sort of that party establishment stability, but obviously, while maybe being an adult, he didn't provide the supervision that created a sort of disciplined White House.
Well, but it seems to me the real problem is the principle, and you can't get around that. You can talk about all these people, and I think there's some real gradations in terms of their quality. Steve Miller, from the speeches I've seen him that Trump has given, that he has written, I'm actually pretty impressed. I was skeptical, but I've been pretty impressed by Steve Miller's work product so far. Steve Bannon, not a child. Reince Priebus, not a child. Even some of the family members, to the extent that makes you uncomfortable, they're not children running around. The president, that's a little bit more difficult conversation.
That's exactly right. That nobody can make this be a disciplined, orderly White House as long as Trump behaves the way he has. That when Sean Spicer left, I thought about all the times that the White House press office went out and said something, presumably after making the best efforts to get the president's viewpoint and opinion and take on it. And then the next morning at 6 a.m., President Trump tweets out something that totally undermines and contradicts what was just said. And so if you're going to have a president that behaves that way, there's no way to stay focused. And then what you had, it's not just a question of message discipline or anything like that. It's even just policy discipline. Mm-hmm. What he did with the transgendered serving in the military, you have a president who tweets out that something's a new policy, but nothing has been set in motion to actually make this be a new policy.
Right. And General Kelly, he's going to have some bizarre personalities, I think, to ring in. But what's his relationship going to be like with congressional members?
So there's a lot of respect on Capitol Hill. Among Republicans, it's almost universal. Among Democrats, there's a lot of criticism because of his, trying to implement President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. That is just totally unacceptable in the minds of a lot of liberals. Barbara Lee, the liberal from the San Francisco Bay Area, has said he's totally not acceptable there. He got confirmed as Homeland Security Secretary, and generally most military generals are held in high regard in a sort of bipartisan fashion on the Hill. Maybe Mike Flynn, who was briefly the National Security Advisor, was an exception to that. But Kelly is another one of these. So I think he'll have a good relationship with the majority on the House side, on the whole congressional side, which is the most you can ask for.
And just to that score, I mean, for people who don't know or don't remember, I mean, General Kelly is someone who has lost a son in service to this country. His son was killed when an IED exploded underneath him while serving in Afghanistan. So this is somebody, not just his own professional career and his personal integrity. This is somebody who comes from a family who's paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to this country, and that demands respect too.
No, that's exactly right. And I think this is another place in which Trump has instincts that can be at odds with sort of what the elites in the media and politics sometimes feel, but is right on point with what the public is, which is sometimes we look at it and say, why are there so many generals here? He's put in Flynn and Mattis and Kelly and all these others in multiple jobs, and some people look at it and say, this is kind of creepy. It looks a little like an authoritarian military takeover. On the other hand, I think what Trump feels is these are immensely competent, capable men who know how to carry out tasks and don't care about the politics of it. And I think that's what the American public feels as well. So this isn't, I'm not talking about whether or not this is going to be popular. 99% of the country doesn't care who the White House Chief of Staff is. What I'm talking about is what's Trump's mindset here. And I think it's another reflection of where he has the same viewpoint that most people do, which is that U.S. military leadership is an institution that's still, unlike most other institutions in the country, that still warrant deep respect because of their capability, their honesty, and their hard work.
Yeah, and President Trump always seems to have a soft spot for men in the military, so hopefully he will listen to General Kelly. But what are your sources telling you about who is going to replace General Kelly? Are there any other names being floated around besides Jeff Sessions?
So we've had Jeff Sessions, and of course, that would be a very interesting thing. Would he accept this? It would be almost a demotion from DOJ to Homeland Security, sort of on the hierarchy of the cabinet agencies. DOJ is senior, and it's sort of held in higher regard. And Sessions would have been driven out sort of by an angry president. Would he take a new appointment? That's a tough one to imagine. If he wants to tap Capitol Hill, Mike McCall is the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee on the House, Texas Republican. That's one that you hear thrown about. A very controversial one would be Chris Kobach. He's the Secretary of State of Kansas, who's the one who's been leading the voting integrity project, trying to get fraudulent registrations off the rolls. It's not just that project. His whole political career has sort of been a lightning rod in picking fights. So that would be a circus if he nominates Chris Kobach. I'm not suspecting he's going to do Kobach. McCall would sort of be the easy pick. You might imagine a normal president at this point would say, I want to avoid drama. We don't know if Donald Trump wants the drama or not.
Avoiding drama is bad for ratings, so we'll see if he does the double switch from the dugout there. W. Wasserman Schultz, I'm going to get to the other side here. We covered this story last week, and this story seems to continue to be ratcheting up in importance based on actual evidence being produced, an arrest made, the things that are non-existent in the Russian collusion investigation getting all the ink. Andy McCarthy writes in National Review that the case between that consists of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and her Pakistani IT schemers, that was not limited to the former DNC head, isn't about bank fraud. It seems to be a real conspiracy aimed at undermining American national security. I thought that's what we were so concerned about with the Russians. What about this case with the arrest made last week and all the information coming out about how much this family was paid and the money moving around, and why Wasserman Schultz and Democrats seem to be so uninterested in getting to the bottom of the crime they were, crimes plural, they were ultimately the victims of?
Yeah, and reminder, some of the details about what was going on and the transferring files and stuff like that came out, but Imran Awan, the sort of head guy, stayed on after some of his staffers were fired, this is a question: why? What was going on?
What does he know?
Yeah, well, and so Awan had been working for the Democrats, McCarthy spells this out, for 13 years. So he started as a low-level Hill staffer back in 2004, and then he landed on Wasserman Schultz, and then he sort of, on her staff, and then sort of climbed up with her and made sort of chief of staff pay about the same as a member of Congress, $160,000. And so this was somebody who was deeply embedded in the party. And so the innocent explanation of why Wasserman Schultz is sort of was protecting him could have something to do with sort of like almost just this hopeful fear that, oh, wait, I hope it's not this guy. I hope it's not this guy who's been my ally for over a decade, who was engaged in trying to, in A, bank fraud, but B, trying to compromise members of Congress and something deeper going on. I'm not convinced. I think Andrew McCarthy's theory is an interesting one, but I'm not convinced that there's some sort of, I mean, it's almost a counterintelligence, espionage story that he's spinning here. But it certainly is a case where I think her sort of incompetence over the years, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is at a level that all Democrats ought to be ashamed that they kept her for as long. It's not just incompetence; it's time, malevolence, and dishonesty.
Well,
this is another example of it.
Well, but I mean, it's not just her, right? I mean, Kim Strassel, we talked about this on Friday, her piece in the Wall Street Journal last week, which was very, who paid for the Fusion GPS phony baloney dossier on Trump? What if we've got this story? What if the D.C. press corps has this story about Russian collusion backwards? Interesting questions.
Yeah, and I think the fact that there's been no there on the Trump side, I have lots of criticism for Donald Jr. taking that meeting. You're not going to sit down with Russian intelligence sources and it come out sort of in your favor. So that was beyond dumb. That was really a culpable stupidity by him. And I think that bringing Paul Manafort into his orbit and Secretary and then General Mike Flynn, I think both of those were sort of inviting these people with these unpleasant Russia ties into his orbit. But that's a Manafort story. That's not a Trump story. On the Trump end, there really isn't. I mean, the idea of collusion almost seems hard to even define now. It's a word that's being thrown out there. But you're right. So now we look at these and the things that Kim Strassel was pointing out, you have to say, was the story working the opposite way than what we suspected? If we're looking for a there, we might have to look at the other end of this whole story.
He is Tim Carney. He's the senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. Tim, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Rich Thomason in for Lou Dobbs. Americans seething over Republican failure to repeal Obamacare. That story next.
If you have unpaid tax debt to the IRS that you can't pay, please hear this special notice. Specially approved IRS relief programs designed to aid delinquent taxpayers are now in effect that can significantly improve your financial situation. Depending on your circumstances, you may qualify to have your tax problem resolved in your favor and may even have your back taxes reduced by thousands or eliminated entirely. A relief Relief Hotline has been established by Community Tax for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-804-7445. If you owe the IRS back taxes that you can't afford to pay, don't let the IRS trick you into thinking you have no way out. Our highly accredited tax professionals will let you know what you qualify for and how much you can save. We may be able to stop all liens, garnishments, levies, and save you thousands. Call and see if you qualify for this taxpayer relief at 800-804-7445. 800-804-7445. That's 800-804-7445. Community Tax. Who's your tax guy?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says it's time to move on after senators late last week failed to repeal parts of the Obamacare program. But from talk radio to constituents calling their senators, reaction to the GOP's failure on its 7-year promise to scuttle Obamacare was swift and angry. The number one target was Arizona Senator John McCain, who promised in his 2016 reelection to stop Obamacare, but instead cast the deciding vote to keep it in place. Economic reports today will include an update on pending home sales, a bad weekend for tourism in parts of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. A power outage prompted a state of emergency. Over 10,000 tourists were ordered to leave popular destinations, including Hatteras Island. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, you're bombarded with MyPillow ads everywhere you turn, not only from me, but on TV, billboards, and in print. And the reason is simple. It's the best pillow available, and you deserve a restful and relaxing summer and a great night's sleep. So the July radio deal using my name, Amy, in the promo code is still the best deal available. It's the 50% discount on the 4-pack, 2 premium MyPillows, and my favorite, those 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for half the price. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless of sleep position. And our good friend Mike Lindell makes them in America using only American labor. And he pointed out to me, too, if you take one of those Go Anywhere pillows, you can sleep with it on the plane or train or in your car. And then when you get to the hotel, you put it on top of the hotel pillow, and it's like you're at home. So here's what you do. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy, A-M-Y, in the promo code, 50% off the 4-pack, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Go to our website, greatparkinglots.com. Check it out, greatparkinglots.com.
Go to greatparkinglots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of greatparkinglots.com. greatparkinglots.com.
Upstream-ideas.com, the digital platform that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews in our Against the Current series this week with Cook County Commissioner, Board of Review Commissioner Dan Patlack, talking property taxes. Our new series, Heart of the Matter, which is professional women, talking about the salient issues, colleague to colleague, this week on the tax increases in Illinois that were passed as part of the phony baloney budget foisted upon us by Democrats and Madigan Republicans. So you want to check that out, as well as my 60 seconds of sanity on Trump the Fighter, 2-minute warning on J.B. Pritzker from Pat Hughes at Illinois Opportunity Project, podcast for Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics this week, focused on the education funding impasse. You can check it out if you sign up and visit upstream-ideas.com.
Yestival, starring Yes, fresh from their induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, one of the most influential bands of all time. Saturday, August 19th, 7 p.m., Grand Victoria Casino, with performances by Todd Rundgren and Carl Palmer of ELP Legacy, featuring Carl's tribute to Keith Emerson and Greg Lake. Tickets on sale now at gvctickets.com. Part of the Grand Victoria Summer Concert Series. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's Milton Friedman Day on AM 560 and Chicago's Morning Answer. And we'll answer the question that Arizona Senator Jeff Flake posed in his new book, Have Conservatives Lost Their Way? That's at 7:07.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Governor Rauner hoping for a school funding plan today. No Democrat day at the Illinois State Fair. Cubs double up the Brew Crew. White Sox walk off the Indians. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
A general will now give marching orders in the White House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. John Kelly will take over as chief of staff this morning, the former Homeland Security Director replacing Reince Priebus, who resigned last week amid infighting within President Trump's inner circle. This as the president pushes for tax reform this week and still hopes the Senate can repeal and replace Obamacare. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
The president has a message for lawmakers. Pass health care reform or live under Obamacare like the rest of Americans. White House Director of Legislative Affairs Mark Short says President Trump could pull the plug on health care subsidies for lawmakers.
That's an executive branch decision, so it's one that does not need congressional authority.
Republican Senator Susan Collins wants to fix Obamacare.
Identify the problems, have hearings, hear from experts, hear from all the stakeholders.
After a failed vote early Friday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said it was time to move on from health care. Dave.
Rachel, Vice President Pence is visiting a NATO ally, telling Estonia, we are with you.
Russia continues to seek to redraw international borders by force.
This after Moscow ordered the U.S. to cut its diplomatic staff in Russia by 755 people after Congress passed new sanctions President Trump will sign. A tropical storm has just formed off Florida's Gulf Coast, and Emily is expected to dump heavy rain up to 8 inches from Tampa down to Naples by tonight. It was a busy night in Walker County, Alabama, hunting down a dozen prisoners who made a jailbreak. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Well, Dave, 11 of them are back behind bars now. Sheriff's deputies are still looking for the one who's still on the run. Brady Kilpatrick is the one they're searching for. He was in jail on drug charges. The inmates ranged in age from 18 to 30, and they were in jail on charges from disorderly conduct all the way to attempted murder. It's still not clear how they were all able to escape, Dave.
Tanya, little Florida boy's dead after the 4-year-old found a gun in his home in Tampa, accidentally shot himself. He then died at a hospital last night. No charges filed yet. Fox News, fair and balanced.
69 degrees. We have some clouds this morning, and winds are calm in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. In Springfield, Illinois Senate President John Cullerton says he will send a bill that overhauls how Illinois doles out money to schools to Governor Bruce Rauner's desk today. The Republican governor has said he'll use his amendatory veto power to rewrite portions of that bill and send it back to the Senate over objections to funding a bailout of Chicago public school teacher pensions. He's repeatedly declined to specify exactly what he will do. Meantime, to overrule Rauner, a 3/5 majority is needed. That attempt likely will fail, and then the bill might die. Lawmakers are expected to convene around noontime for a special session on school funding today. Illinois Democrats, fearful of the backlash over their out-of-balance budget and massive tax hike, are skipping out on one of their powerful political traditions. Democrat leaders last week announcing they will not have a formal rally at the Illinois State Fair for Democrat Day. Instead, they will have a closed-door chairman's breakfast earlier in the day at a Springfield hotel. Chicago officials are moving forward with plans to build the new state-of-the-art police and fire training academy on Chicago's west side. Mayor Emanuel saying yesterday the facility will allow both departments to train together.
It will make sure that when we have a real situation in the city of Chicago, that the coordination and collaboration you want to see between police and fire, they are trained to deliver that to the residents of the city of Chicago.
Emanuel saying yesterday the academy will help each work better together. Mayor's office says the facility will mostly be paid for with the sale of the old police and fire academy buildings and grounds and other surplus city land. An investigation underway after a toddler apparently drowned over the weekend in Elwood. Traeger Moore was found unresponsive in a swimming pool just north of Raymond and Eaton Avenues. The 22-month-old was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. A woman is dead, struck by a vehicle on Chicago's near west side. Ford Focus, according to Chicago police, slammed into Bianca Stevenson near Roosevelt and Racine. John Lackey's solid 6-inning start helped the Cubs beat the Brewers 4-2. Matt Davidson's 2-run home run in the bottom of the ninth gave the White Sox a 3-1 victory over the Indians just after they shipped fan favorite Melky Cabrera to Kansas City. The news, a service of Staples, with low prices on everything your kids need to head back to school with confidence. Get everything they need for less at Staples, and right now, composition books and 2-pocket poly folders, just 50 cents while supplies last. Limit 30 in store, 10 online. It's 9-2 Staples. It's pro time. 7:04, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-600-4133. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant, too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-600-4133. Again, that's 1-800-600-4133.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%. APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to quickenloans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
7:07 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy Expressway, traffic is heavy from Cumberland much of the way now to the Burn Circle. It's 34 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 14 from Montrose, 13 in the Express. Outbound 13 minutes to Montrose. It's 42 to the airport. Westbound 190, still just a little bit heavy, but it's a lot lighter than it was an hour ago. Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Hook to the junction. Outbound 22. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 32 from Manheim, outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 41 minutes. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford, 25. Northbound Tri-State delays are from Southwest Highway to 75th and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Northbound Veterans Memorial slow from the Reagan Tollway to Butterfield and from the Army Trail toll to 290. Other tollways are fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Chris Morelli.
Today, mostly sunny and pleasant, high 84. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tuesday, pleasant with partial sunshine, expect a high of 84. Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sun, look for a high of 84. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
68 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And have conservatives lost their way under this president? And if so, what is the proximate cause? Senator Jeff Flake, he's the other Republican senator from Arizona, was on with John Dickerson.
Yeah, on FTN, Face the Nation.
Yeah, on Face the Nation this weekend, pitching his new book, Conscience of a Conservative, Part 2, because, of course, that's ripping Barry Goldwater's infamous tome. And Flake was not exactly saying extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, moderation in the pursuit of justice no virtue. Not quite strident. Jeff Flake was putting the problem for Republicans governing, particularly under this president, as mainly a demeanor problem, a civility problem. Here's what Jeff Flake had to say.
I think similarly today, the party has lost its way. We've given in to nativism and protectionism. And I think that if we're going to be a governing party in the future and a majority party, we've got to go back to traditional conservatism, limited government, economic freedom, individual responsibility, respect for free trade. Those are the principles that made us who we are.
Is that right? The Republican Party's given in to nativism and even borderline xenophobia, Flake said, and we need to be back to the party that we once were. Flake also saying this with respect to losing the mantle of small government, have the Republicans back in 06, 07 when George W. Bush was still the president and they had both houses.
As Republicans kind of gave away the limited government mantle when we spent like crazy 2000, 2006, while Republicans had the majority in both houses and the White House. And then that forced us to delve into the wedge issues like flag burning or, the case of Terry Schiavo or things like that. And now we've, I think, taken up a banner that is not familiar to us. This one of, intense nationalism and nativism and sometimes xenophobia.
A couple of things there. One, I think he makes a point about giving up the mantle of small government when you have, in the era of quote-unquote compassionate conservatism, government as a force for good, rather than reducing the size and scope of government to enlarge the individual citizen. He's right about that, and that certainly happened during W's tenure, including with a new entitlement, Medicare Part D. Those are real problems, and absolutely the Republicans suffer a loss of legitimacy on the topic as a result. But here's where I part company with Flake. And Jeff Flake is an interesting senator because, on the one hand, his numbers from conservative organizations that do legislative scorecards like Freedom Works or Heritage Action are very good. Mm-hmm. He was an executive director of the Goldwater Institute in Arizona before becoming a member of Congress, which does a lot of good work on behalf of the economic liberty policy agenda. So that's a real thing. But then on the other hand, he talks about demeanor and civility, and he misstates the record on so-called wedge issues like Terry Schiavo. He said we had to go to wedge issues like Terry Schiavo. That's what he said, because we had lost our standing on spend issues in particular, if not on the tax side, certainly on the spend side. Well, here's the problem I see with conservatives and Republicans. An abandonment of life and death issues for the pleasure of now issues. Cut my taxes now. Give me this now. Make my life more comfortable now. But there's no kind of...
Well, people were getting restless after 8 years of Obama.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about where the Republican Party. I go back again. Why do even hacks left-wing amoral hacks like Tiny Dancer talk in the parlance of values, because he understands values has appeal. What are the bigger things I'm living?
He's virtuous.
Well, maybe, but what he really understands is that there's great appeal to the transcendental. I'm fighting for something bigger than myself. I'm part of a bigger, larger purpose in this. This battle
Like,
is
this is
giving
my
life
calling.
meaning.
Yeah.
Right. So what the virtue signaling of the left? I'm doing something important.
I'm helping minorities and the poor.
Is beating the drum to reduce my marginal tax rate, is that something I'm going to look back on at the end of my life and say, there was a life well lived? Remember when we cut the top marginal tax rate from 31% to 28%? That was a time.
That's going to go on your tombstone.
So that's what Flake misses when he talks about Terry Schiavo as a wedge issue. He also gets the record wrong.
On what?
On Terry Schiavo being a wedge issue. You know how many Democrat senators voted no on the bill to the Terry Schiavo legislation to protect Terry Schiavo?
How many?
Zero. In point of fact, our friend Leslie Smith points out in National Review, it was one of the most bipartisan bills passed during George W. Bush's presidency. Not Barack Obama, not Harry Reid, not Di-Fi. No Democrat senators voted against the federal Terry Schiavo law. Unanimous consent in the Senate. The whole thing was helped forward based on an agreement with Senator Tom Harkin, Democrat from Iowa. About 45% of the House caucus, House Democrat caucus, also voted for the bill, including Jesse Jackson Jr. So a wedge issue for political gain, Terry Schiavo? No, Senator Flake. You got the record wrong. And you also got the market position wrong. Yes, the economic liberty. Yes, have legitimacy and standing on tax and spend issues, of course. But you think life and death issues and the government's intervention into life and death issues, either on behalf of death or in protection of and defense of life, is a wedge issue? Well, it shouldn't be. And if it needs to be, so be it. That's where I think a lot of people who criticize Trump don't see the appeal that he has as a fighter, because you have too many senators that vote the right way, usually, like Jeff Flake, but have very little appetite for the fight against the rapacious left, the left that is always on the march to destroy American culture and the principles upon which this country was founded. That's what Jeff Flake misses. And in place of that, here's what you get from Jeff Flake.
Not enough to be conservative anymore. You have to be vicious. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at the politics of today, I mean, the tape from last week at the White House and the language that was used then. And we've seen, unfortunately, too many examples of members of Congress and other elected officials using language, referring to your opponents in ways that you would have never done before, ascribing the worst motives to your opponents, and assuming that other Americans are the enemies. And that's just not the way it used to be, and I don't think it can be that way in the future.
Yeah, he's got the historical record wrong again. The idea that everybody was friends throughout the history of our nation up until recently. Give me a break. Grow up, Senator Flake. That's simply not true, number one.
Well, the rhetoric is at a different level. I mean, we've
Really?
never seen anything. The potty mouth communications director that he just hired. Come on. I mean, the conservatives who sit around and don't question him, they're enabling him to continue this bad behavior.
That is a sophomoric level. It is not more vicious. It's just profane. Doesn't necessarily mean it's more vicious.
Unlike anything I've seen in my lifetime,
Fine.
and I'm sure you too.
It's more profane, which is an example of the degradation of the culture. Are the charges more vicious? Go back and look at history. By the way, thinking of one of the popular plays of the day, Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
What was the outcome of
Death.
Hamilton? By duel.
Duel.
So the Pollyannish rewriting of American history is a little tiresome. It's a cover story for Jeff Flake to sell his book. Okay? But what he's saying is not accurate, number one, about the viciousness. Number two, fine, I'll take people's stated motives, but then I watch what they do and I respond based on their behavior. You want to tell me, Senator Flake, what the 21st century Democrat Party is? These are just friends we haven't made yet to advance bipartisan solutions to all of the problems that plague our country? Is that where we are? And if we're not doing this in a bipartisan way, everything in a bipartisan way, then we're xenophobes? Oh, by the way, maybe there's some underlying difference of opinion on things like border security. And again, a story out of Portland, Oregon over the weekend. A man accused of breaking into a 65-year-old woman's home, sexually assaulting her, stealing her car, was arrested after assaulting another woman running from police. Sergio Jose Martinez was caught. He's 31 years old. He has a history of illegal entry into the United States. He's been a transient in the Portland area for more than a year, Sanctuary City, and has been deported 20 times. 20 times.
Yep.
He has had at least 5 probation violations for reentering the United States. His most recent removal was November 2016. So is it xenophobia to say Sergio Jose Martinez shouldn't be in this country, Senator Flake? I don't think so. And do you want to contend that the Democrats, 8 years of Obama and most of those years with the run of the place, are serious about border security because they say they have good intentions to remove people from this country who are here illegally and are violent predators? Well, they didn't do it. They didn't lift a finger to do it. In fact, they're promoting sanctuary cities, defending sanctuary cities. You shall not defund sanctuary cities. Don't comply with federal law enforcement when it comes to violent predators like Sergio Jose Martinez, Senator Flake. So where's the compromise position? Senator Flake is one of those guys who thinks, as Malcolm Wallup said, the great Wyoming senator who retired right before the Gingrich Revolution in the early 90s. Very frustrated with what the Republican Party had become under surrender Republicans, like our very own Bob Michael, House Minority Leader for a time. Here's what Washington is, said Wallup. The Democrats introduced a bill to burn down the U.S. Capitol. The Republicans compromised and agreed to phase it in over 3 years. That's Jeff Flake. He's one of those that would, hey, let's phase this in over 3 years so we can achieve bipartisan consensus. The underlying substance matters. And that's what Jeff Flake seems to miss. Mark in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, if you haven't heard this viciousness stuff, where were you the past 8 years where being a Republican meant you were a bigoted, racist, homophobe who just wanted to cut taxes for the rich and watch the poor get sick and die, and if the only reason people like us got our positions in life is because of white privilege.
That hasn't changed. Yeah, that's still going on.
That's still what I'm dealing with. So, yeah.
Right, but the reason Republicans had to go to these so-called wedge issues is the Democrats went to them first in the most insane manner, everywhere from wide open borders to gay marriage to this open attack on Christianity. That's why Republicans had to go to them. The Democrats went to them first.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, because the Democrats are always prosecuting a culture war. And on the Republican side, even among some erstwhile conservatives like Jeff Flake, they want us to surrender to social justice warriors. You have Republicans, I know, because I hear it all the time. Oh, these conservatives, they're culture warriors. I'm talking about Republicans ridiculing conservative culture warriors. But they don't ridicule the social justice warriors. So they want to unilaterally disarm. Well, who wins a war when one side unilaterally disarms?
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today and tomorrow, a high of 84 degrees, and then some rain here on Wednesday. Thunderstorms likely in the afternoon. Now let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. To a very decent man, honest man, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. I'll tell you what the travel times tell me. Right now, it's 34 minutes on your inbound Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, 14 from Montrose, 13 in the Express. The Ohio feeder's starting to back up. And outbound, it's improved a bit. 34 minutes downtown to O'Hare, and 190 has cleared up. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 24. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 37. The Stevenson, well, we've got problems on northbound 55, actually from Weber to 53. It's a big jam with a crash in the left lane. So then the Stevenson travel time comes down from 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's now 50 minutes. It'll get heavier later once that crash clears. The Stevenson outbound 45 minutes to get to 3:55. The Ryan 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slow Southwest Highway to 75th, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Veterans Memorial slow from the Reagan Tollway to Butterfield, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. That's 1-800-300-3861. 1-800-300-3861.
The key to success? Keep it simple, especially when it comes to hiring the right people for your growing business. That means finding the right candidates with a powerful suite of tools. Tools that are easy to use and get the job done quickly. And nobody makes it easier than Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Simple. Set up screener questions to help you find more qualified candidates. Simple. Review applicants, take notes, and schedule interviews from a user-friendly dashboard on your phone, tablet, or desktop. Simple. Indeed is hiring made simple. And simple works. An independent study proves 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. More hires than the rest combined. And right now we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job, boosting your listing in relevant search results and helping you find qualified candidates faster. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
Your logo is your brand, your reputation. It's your most valuable asset. So what's the best thing to do with it? Give it away. When the experts at 4imprint put your logo on the right promotional products, giving those items away can make a lasting impression, empower your brand, and attract new customers. In fact, we'll prove it by revealing the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free. Simply text the keyword GIVE to 642-642. We don't just print your logo. We're here to help you every step of the way. The 4imprint team can make your logo shine on your choice of thousands of promotional items, all delivered on time at great prices with free art assistance and outstanding customer service that's second to none. Want to turn your logo into profit? Give it away. Discover the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free by texting GIVE to 642-642. That's GIVE to 642-642.
Hey guys, Ken here from the award-winning podcast Today's Growth. If you had to choose sides, which camp would you rather be in? Would you rather have time and no money, or money and no time? Did you know that 95% of U.S. adults by choice have settled into these categories? Much more interesting is that 1 out of 20 people have built their life around achieving simultaneous control of both time and money. What choices did these 5% make that the others didn't? My friends at Income Store have shown both households and businesses how to build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams for the express purpose of gaining control of time. When it comes to helping folks create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Go to IncomeStore.com today. That's IncomeStore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about Jeff Flake. Somebody tweeted in, I think it's from 708, his title shouldn't be Senator Flake, it should be Snow Flake.
He's not that bad.
Is that vicious? Oh, is that too vicious?
Yeah, we're eating our own again.
Oh, yeah. George
He's a
in
conservative
Libertyville.
with principles.
George in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Guys. Yeah, good morning. You know, when these does anybody remember
the language and the behavior our own little tiny dancer had when he was the man in Washington. And how about Valerie Jarrett after Obama's second election? Now we're going to find our enemies and we're going to make them pay, right? And all of a sudden now, the Republicans are the bad guys. But, the Democrats, everybody just needs to know everything they do is what they accuse others of actually doing.
Yeah, they project. You're right. Thanks for the call, George. And here's the thing, too. Let's remember in terms of potty mouths, how about the DNC head?
Yeah, what's his name?
Tom Perez.
Tom Perez.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I know, but
profanity, they feature profanity. That's not a bug. That's a feature in their remarks.
But I love this article, and I don't know if you read it in the Washington Post by Jennifer Rubin, when she talked about Christian conservatives set up this circus. They put up the tent, they handed out the red noses and the floppy shoes, and that if we don't hold him accountable for his bad behavior and the hiring choices that he made, that they'll continue giving him a pass.
Nobody gave him a pass, but as Tony Perkins, head of Family Research Council, said during the campaign, and when the Billy Bush tape came out, I'm still supporting Donald Trump because it was never about shared values, right? All of what's happened is still better for religious freedom, for social conservatism, for American freedom writ large than anything we would have got with Hillary and her friends, and that was the binary. Speaking of white privilege, Adam Carolla, yes, the Adam Carolla, had a great little anecdote when he testified before a House Oversight Committee on what's happening on college campuses with the indoctrination of white privilege. Listen to this.
I want to talk about my white privilege so badly. I graduated North Hollywood High with a 1.7 GPA. I could not find a job. I walked to a fire station in North Hollywood. I was 19. I was living in the garage of my family home. My mom was on welfare and food stamps, and I said, can I get a job as a fireman? And they said, no, because you're not black, Hispanic, or a woman. We'll see in about 7 years. And I went to a construction site and dug ditches and picked up garbage for the next 7 years. I got a letter in the mail sent to my father's house saying, your time has come to do the written exam for the LA Fire Department. I took it, and I was standing in line, and I had a young woman of color standing behind me in line, and I said, just out of curiosity, when did you sign up to become a fireman? Because I did it, or a person, 7 years ago, and she said, Wednesday. That is an example of my white privilege. I think it's an economic privilege more than it is the color of your skin.
Mic drop. Bingo. Carolla's good. He's good. He's one celebrity who's flipped over into political discourse very nicely.
And he's lived it. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Jordan Sekulow, the executive director of the American Center for Law and Justice, about Sessions and all things Trump collusion investigation related at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
64 degrees, partly cloudy skies in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the lifetime advantage warranty. President Trump telling Republican senators to, quote, go nuclear, end quote, to pass a new health insurance reform bill. In a tweet yesterday morning, Trump telling GOP senators not to give up. The world is watching whether they will repeal and replace Obamacare. A new chief of staff going to work in the White House today. Outgoing Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly replaces Reince Priebus, who left last week. President Trump announcing the move in a series of tweets on Friday. Senator Dianne Feinstein calling North Korea's rapid missile development a clear and present danger.
North Korea has never moved at the speed that this leader has to develop an ICBM, to have a trajectory and maybe even hit as far east as Chicago.
The California Democrat, member of the Senate Intelligence Committee on CBS's Face the Nation. Tropical storm Emily expected to bring heavy rain to parts of Florida today. Tropical Depression 6 grew into that tropical storm overnight and into this morning just west of Tampa with sustained winds at 50 miles an hour. One man still on the loose after 12 inmates busted out of jail Sunday night in northern Alabama. No one knows right now how they got out of the Walker County Jail. Texas Ranger slugger Adrian Beltre is a member of quite an exclusive group this morning. Beltre, number 31 in the 3,000 hit club. Illinois Senate President John Cullerton says yes, he will send a bill that overhauls Well, how Illinois doles out money to high schools. Governor Bruce Rauner's desk later today. The Republican governor has promised to use his amendatory veto power to rewrite that bill and send it back to the Senate. Cubs over the Brewers 4-2. White Sox snap a 7-game losing skid with a 3-1 win over the Indians. The news, a service of Staples, with low prices on everything your kids need to head back to school with confidence. At Staples, get everything they need for less. Right now, composition books and 2-pocket poly folders are just 50 cents while supplies last. Limit 30 in store, 10 online, ends 9-2. Staples. It's pro time. 7:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Home isn't just a place, it's the feeling of knowing you're safe. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Learn more at ADT.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
It's absolutely amazing that the combination of these capsules improves your health. It does tell you the value of food and nutrition.
I actually can feel a difference. I really can.
I love the product. It's wonderful. I can't live without it.
It's really helping me. Every time I take it, my body says, thank you.
This is the first winter that I went through that I didn't get a cold.
I love my fruits and veggies. I'm a line dancer, and I just turned 78, and it has made a big difference in my stamina and just my overall well-being, and I have so enjoyed them. I just love taking them and what they do for me.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Yes, indeed. Summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot. Gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
7:36, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Clarendon Hills, there's a crash on 83 at Ogden. The Eden's inbound, little heavy at Elston, 20 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 24, the Kennedy, 31 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34 minutes. Inbound Eisenhower, 44 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 37. Northbound I-55 heavy, 126 to Weber after a crash. Then the Stevenson runs 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 43. Inbound Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 21 to Eau Plaine. And from the Irving Park toll to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound, Southwest Highway to 75th, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. And traffic, it's a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99, plus $3 disposal fee. Tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny and pleasant today with a high of 84. Partly cloudy and 66 overnight. Currently 67. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues right now, and make sure to join me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon starting at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And President Trump making news over the weekend, not just with the change at Chief of Staff, but also with his speech at Suffolk Community College on Long Island about border enforcement. Here's what the president had to say.
But I have a simple message today for every gang member and criminal alien that are threatening so violently our people. We will find you, we will arrest you, we will jail you, and we will deport you.
With the continued news of violent crimes committed by persons here illegally, most recently over the weekend out of Portland, Oregon, a sanctuary city, it's a timely address. The president also went into some detail about MS-13, the Salvadorian gang that actually had its origins in L.A., that Jeff Sessions, his attorney general for now, went to El Salvador to address as well with the Ortega and communists there.
Yeah, but then he upstaged himself by later on in that same speech talking about, hey, when you put the criminals in the car, maybe you can bump their head. You're always so nice to them when you lower their head after they're handcuffed into the car. Well, and everyone's like, well, he's suggesting police brutality, and then everyone took to Twitter saying their police department it condones police brutality.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, back to the substance of the border enforcement piece and Jeff Sessions standing. Gosh, it seems to me that with Trump tweeting about his attorney general, he would be getting some advice and counsel from his legal team, including our brother in sound on these airwaves, Jay Sekulow. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Jordan Sekulow. He is Jay's son. He is also the executive director of the American Center for Law and Justice and an attorney in his own right. Jordan, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
So with respect to Jeff Sessions, is that something, without violating attorney-client privilege, is that something where President Trump has sought legal advice?
Not to my knowledge. I have the attorney-client privilege relationship with my dad, and that's we're very close with Jeff. Before he was nominated, obviously, as a U.S. Senator, we supported his decision to be chosen as Attorney General as confirmation. And so now that in the legal situation that we are in as well, and that he, by recusing himself in that situation, haven't had as much direct contact at all because of the uniqueness of where we are and where my dad is specifically, and Jeff's role in that, which is not to be involved. And I think a lot of it stems from that. You know, we got used to 8 years under an administration where there were a lot of potential conflicts and maybe opportunities where a normal attorney general would recuse themselves, and they wouldn't. I mean, the best example, most recent, would be Loretta Lynch, just in the Hillary Clinton matter. Because of her personal relationship with the Clintons, she was appointed U.S. attorney by Bill Clinton, so she kind of started her top federal government career with him. After the tarmac meeting, she still didn't recuse herself. She put out that statement saying, I'll abide by what the FBI director presents, but she never, if you look at the key word, she never took herself out of that process. And I think that's where a lot of this kind of animosity and questioning stems from, is that, you know, why do this? Because I would acknowledge that we would probably not be in this situation if it wasn't for that recusal, and maybe was it done too hastily, too quickly, in light of all of the facts we have now. I mean, it's all hindsight in 2020, but we see what Jim Comey was putting together. His memos were ready to go. He already knew that his job was in jeopardy. I think he knew that regardless of who became president. So he was going to turn on whichever one it would be. And because I can't imagine Hillary Clinton keeping him either after what he did during the election. So I think that hindsight, you probably wouldn't want to necessarily recuse yourself, or you would have known going in that this would maybe not have been the right job in light of some meetings. Though I think these meetings he had as a U.S. Senator just are kind of so what? I mean, he was a U.S. Senator. He met with foreign officials. Not shocking.
Well, what do you think is President Trump's end game? I mean, would he want to replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions to hire somebody who would then maybe get rid of Mueller and the special prosecutor?
I think that's what everyone likes to talk about, the idea that in this scenario, which I think might actually end up causing more I think it's more up to, in Jeff's situation, him. Does he believe that the precedent he set as Attorney General now with this recusal, is it going to be, let's say we get past this issue, is there going to be another issue and another issue where he's now set this precedent that he's going to have to constantly recuse, or something like that? I don't see this. I think that people like to come up with the idea. It would, you can think, oh, this would be a quick and easy solution, but it's actually not that quick and easy. I don't think that there's anyone who would necessarily take that job and be able to get confirmed, because you have to go through that process. That would immediately take that kind of action. I don't think they would ever limit themselves. I think the only way they get quickly confirmed is if they did limit themselves by saying, I would never do that. But I'm not sure of anybody who would actually really go up for that position who would say that before knowing all the info. And you wouldn't know all the info until you were in that spot.
What about dealing with current personnel? And that's, I speak directly of Rod Rosenstein, and suggesting that maybe he revise his authorizing letter for Mueller to impose some parameters on his investigation, or is that horse already out of the barn?
That is the scope of the investigation is both the scope and any conflicts are both being looked at. I mean, very close every single minute and every part of every day. It's just that the actual investigation hasn't reached the point where any of that would be raised. So you wouldn't just throw that. I mean, you could talk about the potentials publicly, but there's a process you go through if you believe, one, the scope is being violated, or two, that there are the actual legal conflicts arising within members of the team of the special counsel.
Well, but you can't try to set parameters prospectively. I mean, for example, President Trump was asked about the New York Times. Would it be out of bounds, in your opinion, if Mueller's subpoenaed and started looking into your personal financial records? And he said it would. I mean, that would be an example where, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's something that you could do prospectively.
Yes, so that would be, if you had any, see, those are those interesting reports that come out where the sourcing, even the special counsel, they didn't respond.
Right.
And of course that makes everyone a bit more nervous in the sense that they didn't deny that. They wanted to come out and say, no, we're not expanding this to things that happened 10 years before the presidential race, because that is not what this mandate that we received from Rod Rosenstein is about. This says, arising from campaign relationships, not 10 years ago reported relationships that no one was hiding, no one was misrepresenting, and everyone's doing in a normal business fashion. So yes, I mean, there are ways to get ahead of that. It's just actually it's not there yet. I mean, people try to push this along, and it's still the case that no one on that legal team has received any notice that the president himself is being investigated. And at a certain point, you can talk and talk and talk, but at a certain point, they've got to start asking for things, and that gives you the real, true indication of what they're actually looking at, not the kind of speculation from these unnamed sources.
So, Jordan Sekulow, in about an hour from now, General Kelly is going to be sworn in as the chief of staff for President Trump. He's got a pretty daunting task ahead of him, and the last person to be chief of staff who was a general, was Alexander Haig back at the Ford administration. Do you think he's going to be effective, and do you think he's going to be able to deal with these bizarre personalities and characters?
Yeah, I mean, he's part of that the team. He's done very well at DHS. I think you look at the what he's been able to do with border security, just by implementing the policies and the laws that are on the books, and the way that illegal immigration is down. I think he's been effective there. He's actually kind of left that in a very good spot for whoever takes that on next. So I think that's a good indication that he's already been able to work successfully within this administration as a cabinet member. He's been, it's not like he's brand new to this. He's been chosen by the president and specifically for that position. And I think his leadership capabilities. The issue that happened, I mean, it was. I think I was actually on Fox Business Live to talk about another issue, and that broke. And so they came to me about it. And said, I think with healthcare and the issue there, which is where Reince Priebus obviously had the relationships, Capitol Hill Republicans, elected officials, the fact that wasn't able to get across the line, it was already being discussed as kind of a year-long tenure, so there's already kind of like an end game to this chief of staff role, and so I think with that, plus some of the, just personnel issues that were arising, was it really that shocking to anybody? I mean, it broke on a Friday. There wasn't a ton of a leaking about it, but I think with the healthcare vote, honestly, you look to the policy too, is that those relationships obviously weren't there strong enough to push that along.
He is Jordan Sekulow, Executive Director of the American Center for Law and Justice. Jordan, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amy.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, he's one of my heroes, Joey Chestnut. Oh, yeah, the latest with him. What's he chomping on now? Yes. But first, here's your forecast. Gorgeous today. Mostly sunny skies, a pleasant high of 84 degrees, and then we'll have a repeat of that tomorrow, a high of 84, and a chance of rain here, finally. Shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon on Wednesday. Now let's get into the alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, any sunshine on the roadways? Here is Jim Delamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Here's some good news. Northbound I-55, a crash quickly cleared before 355. We still have some residual delays from 53 up to Cass, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. We had delays starting as far south as 126. And delays kick in again on the inbound Stevenson around Central. Travel time, though, holding around 50 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 43. Eden's, sunshine, clear sailing, 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound 27. Kennedy, 31 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34. The Eisenhower's 46 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 42. The Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, southbound stop and go 21 to a plane. There's a crash in the left lane. Then heavy from the Irving Park toll to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound, Southwest Highway to 75th. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan tollway to Lawrence. Veterans Memorial Slope, the Boughton toll most of the way up to St. Charles. And from the Army Trail toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do on this show each morning. It's our digital platform featuring long-form interviews in our Against the Current series this week. Cook County Board of Review Commissioner Dan Patlack talking property taxes. Heart of the Matter. It's a new series we started, professional women addressing the salient issues of the day, colleague to colleague, in a conversational setting. This week they tackle the tax increases imposed by Madigan and Madigan Republicans in the Illinois General Assembly. 60 seconds of sanity commentaries from yours truly this week on Trump the Fighter, as well as 2-minute warnings from Pat Hughes, Illinois Opportunity Project this week on J.B. Pritzker, and podcast for Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics. This week, the focus, school funding. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Back in 1993, Medishare was known as the best-kept secret in healthcare. But not anymore. Today, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans who've discovered what us longtimers have known since the beginning. Medishare is affordable health care that really works. The great thing is, we're not an insurance company. We're a nonprofit community. Hundreds of thousands of honest, hardworking people who agree to share each other's medical bills. Every share goes to help a fellow member. And when we say affordable, we mean it's common for our members to save upwards of $500 a month. Best of all, Medishare is always open. You can join anytime. So how about now? Isn't it time you joined Medishare?
Call 844-41-BIBLE to find out how much you can save on your health care. Medishare, now available in Montana. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE.
Millwright work is often technical and requires a high degree of precision. The pros at Vans Industrial are skilled mechanics that can perform any type of millwright work, including installation and maintenance of your factory equipment and machinery. For your machine repair needs, look no further than Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial millwright contractor that can install new mechanical systems or repair existing systems. Our services include repair of bearings, shafts, shiv alignments, as well as installation of conveyors and bucket elevators. Our team of trained mechanics will respond to your emergency calls 24/7, keeping your systems operational. We're here to help you.
Call 219-931-4881 today for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Message and data rates may apply.
What does home security look like in 2017? It's not strangers drilling holes in your walls. It's not big names making empty promises. In 2017, thanks to some out-of-the-box thinking, FrontPoint Home Security is 100% wireless with cellular monitoring and is ready to set up right out of the box. Plus, it's backed up by the best customer service in the industry. Experience the next generation of home security with FrontPoint. For a free quote, text the keyword FAMILY to 642-642. FrontPoint can be controlled right from your smartphone, so you can remotely control your lights, thermostat, and door locks. With text and email alerts, live video streaming, night vision, and professional monitoring 24/7, your home is protected with us. Ready, set, secure. It's that easy. Protect your family right out of the box with FrontPoint. We deliver it, you unbox it. For your free quote, text FAMILY to 642-642 on your smartphone. That's FAMILY to 642-642.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've been on vitamins, I've been on all kinds of supplements, but nothing has come close to your product. The difference between before I started the product and afterwards is like night and day. I do have more energy, and that was what I really was after. I get all these benefits. It's wonderful. I had no energy at all, and I thought, how can I live this way? I do one little chore, and then I have to sit and rest. And I find that I get through the day pretty well, and I really have more energy. I look in the mirror and I say, I think I feel more alive. I think I look more alive.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think, too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-400-4173. That's 1-800-400-4173. 1-800-400-4173.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-600-4133. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-600-4133. Again, that's 1-800-600-4133.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Chicago ahead of its record-setting violent crime pace from last year, year over year. But don't worry, Tiny Dancer's regime is on the job harassing businesses over their signage at 8:08.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're following at this hour. Governor Rauner hopes for a school funding plan from Democrats today. A toddler drowns in Elwood. Cubs double up the Brew Crew while the White Sox walk off on the Indians, and the Royals acquire the Milkman from the White Sox. Mostly sunny day ahead and pleasant, high near 84. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
He'll be sworn in a half hour. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The general who had been in charge of Homeland Security will become Chief of Staff at the White House, where Fox's John Decker is live.
Retired General John Kelly takes over from Reince Priebus as Chief of Staff this morning, trying to jumpstart President Trump's stalled legislative agenda and put an end to the infighting that's mired the West Wing for the past 6 months. Kelly's success will depend on how much authority he's granted and whether he'll have any influence over the president's social media habits. It's still unknown who will replace Kelly at the Department of Homeland Security. Dave?
Well, John, the president just tweeted there is no White House chaos and wrote, highest stock market ever, best economic numbers in years. His other message, if Obamacare is hurting people, and it is, why shouldn't it hurt the insurance companies? The president is expected to sign a bill putting new sanctions on Russia, which in turn is ordering the U.S. to get rid of 755 diplomatic staff members in Russia. North Korea is another problem.
Japan's prime minister saying he agrees more action is needed against North Korea. Shinzo Abe speaking after a phone call with President Trump. He praised the president's commitment to U.S. allies. This weekend, North Korea got a look at what it is up against. The U.S. Air Force flying nearby, a pair of stealth bombers, and south of the border, a live fire drill. Meanwhile, today, Seoul saying a pumped-up Pyongyang is likely now to pull the trigger on another nuclear test. In the Asia Bureau, Alistair Wanklin, Fox News.
A tropical storm has just whipped up off the Gulf Coast of Florida. Emily.
And folks, especially along the West Florida coastline, know what tropical storms can do, particularly when it comes to flooding.
Dennis Falcon of the National Hurricane Center says there will be heavy rain today from Tampa down to Naples. The surge continues in Alabama for an escapee. Brady Kilpatrick, one of 12 men who broke out of a Walker County jail last night. The other 11 were recaptured. Fox News, fair and balanced.
72 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Illinois Senate President John Cullerton says he'll send a bill that overhauls how Illinois doles out money to schools to Governor Bruce Rauner's desk later today. The Republican governor has said he'll use his amendatory veto powers to rewrite that bill and send it back to the Senate over objections to funding for the Chicago Public School bailout of their teacher pension fund. But he's repeatedly declined to specify exactly what he will do. Illinois Democrats, fearful of a backlash over their out-of-balance budget and massive tax hike, are skipping out on one of their major political traditions this year. Democratic leaders have announced they will not formally rally at the Illinois State Fair for Democrat Day. The day is the annual opportunity for Democrats to mingle and preen and rally at the fair. Democratic leaders instead say they will have a closed-door chairman's breakfast early in the day at a Springfield hotel. Chicago officials moving forward with plans to build the new state-of-the-art police and fire academy on the city's west side.
It will make sure that when we have a real situation in the city of Chicago,
that the coordination and collaboration you want to see between police and fire, they are trained to deliver that to the residents of the city of Chicago.
The mayor's office says the facility will be mostly paid for with the sale of old police and fire academy buildings and other city surplus land. Cubs beat the Brewers 4-2 on Sunday. Sox over the Indians 3-1. The news a service of accountants. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge. Let accountants help. With accountants' extensive network of accounting and finance candidates, you can be sure to find the professional with the skill you need for the job you need and hiring them fast. Visit accountemps.com. Accountemps is a Robert Half company. 8:04 time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network, a service of turnkey.pro. Here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Scripps Network Interactive, the company that produces The Property Brothers and Fixer Upper, is merging with Discovery, which is also the parent company of Animal Planet and Travel and Leisure. Discovery will buy Scripps for $90 a share. The deal is valued at approximately $14.6 billion. Apparently, the hot toy this summer is not something from Disney's Cars 3. Mattel said sales of merchandise from the film have been on the sluggish side. Maserati is planning an electric car, a possible competitor to high-end Tesla sports cars. Fiat Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchionne tells USA Today the company will be producing electric Maseratis before the end of the decade. The Dow was up 33 points on Friday, but the Nasdaq dropped 7 and the S&P was down 3. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder sees a glaring issue with the media.
The Center for Public Integrity identified 430 people who were, quote, journalists, reporters, news editors, or television anchors. What percentage of the money that they gave went to Hillary, do you think, of these 430 journalists? 96% of the nearly $400,000 that they gave went to Clinton. 96%.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%. APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to quickenloans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
8:06. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Mike, the Edens is looking good on the inbound side. 19 minutes late cooked to the junction. Outbound 27 with scattered delays out to Willow Road. Not Kennedy. Heavy starting at Irving Park. 37 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. 27 from Montrose. 24 in the Express. Outbound at 16 minutes to Montrose. 35 to the airport. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 42. The Stevenson is now jammed. Harlem to Kedzie and Ashland most of the way to Lakeshore Drive. It is an hour and 12 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, 58 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 45 minutes to 3:55. Inbound Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, there's a jam. 21 to a plane. Crash now blocking 2 left lanes. Injuries involved. Then it's slow Balmoral to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound, heavy Archer to the Mylong Bridge. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. From the Reagan till way to Lawrence. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Chris Morelli.
Today, mostly sunny and pleasant, high 84. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tuesday, pleasant with partial sunshine, high 84. Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm, high once again 84. I'm Chris Morelli on AM 560, The Answer.
70 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You know, we've talked a little bit about the governor's election in 2018. It's a year and a half out, but you know how the campaigns run these days. They never stop running. So we've talked about the candidates there. The incumbent Governor Rauner specifically, but also Pritzker and Kennedy and Biss, the Democrat contenders. Concurrent to that campaign, and maybe you haven't thought that much about it, but concurrent to the 2018 gubernatorial election, state election, is just a couple of months later, 2019.
2019 will be here before you know it.
February of 2019, the mayor's reelection, and of course all the feudal lords as well, the aldermen. And so those campaigns really effectively run simultaneous. And so the question is, you going to vote to reelect Rahm here in the city of Chicago? Tiny Dancer, you impressed? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. Here's this body of work, and I do mean body. 4 years ago, Chicago Tribune, Chicago didn't record 400 homicides until just before Thanksgiving. The city has already passed that mark this year. Chicago's on pace to have a deadlier year than 2016 when gun violence reached levels not seen in 20 years. We passed 400 dead this weekend.
Including a 4-year-old boy and an 89-year-old man. And mostly these shootings used to take place in dark. Now, the 4-year-old was killed 5:15 Friday night, just sitting in his neighborhood, in the Austin neighborhood. Drive-by shooting. A
related story, crime on the L and CTA buses is up 90%. Is up, I should say, and 90% of serious incidents go unsolved. Serious crime overall in the CTA is up by 16% over last year, mostly thefts of cell phones and other items.
Mm-hmm.
CTA doesn't keep stats on crimes that take place in the suburbs aboard its buses or trains or at stations. But
why not? Oh,
it's so just there's so much more paperwork, and since people don't seem to care with respect to how they vote, what's the point?
Have you been on the L lately or CTA bus?
No, I haven't.
You got to hold your possessions close to your chest.
Yeah, well,
and I have family coming in from Sweden. They said, we're going to take the L. And I said, absolutely not. I am going to pick you up at the airport.
Who cares? Who cares what happens?
I care.
No, you don't. You voted for Tiny Dancer. You don't care.
I didn't vote for Chewy. Yes, you're right. And I regret that decision, and I'm not going to do that again.
Right, so Pierre,
we need a strong Republican candidate to run against Mayor Emanuel.
My point is people don't care. You don't care about your safety. You don't care about your city. You don't care. I'm not talking about you specifically. Relax. I'm talking about the city. You don't care about your schools. You don't care about public safety. You don't care about your property taxes. You don't care about job opportunities. You don't care about West and South Side shooting galleries. You don't care about 400 dead. You don't care about crime being up 16% on the CTA. You don't care about 90% of incidents going unsolved. You don't care. You know how I know? Because I see who's in office. So don't tell me that you care when I see the same feudal lords in the same aldermanic seats or, rearranging them, the same profile of the same feudal lord, and Tiny Dancer on cruising to his second reelection in his third term. Don't tell me you care, because I know you don't. And don't tell me that I vote. Oh, no, I voted against him, or I did this, or I did that. And what about your neighbors? Are you ridiculing your neighbors who support their own demise economically and physically? Because that's, I think, where we're at as the society literally breaks down in Chicago. Civil institutions crumbling. So are you going to go after your friends? Are you going to initiate conversations and say, you know what, if you're going to be on board with the slaughter of young people, mostly girls and boys of color, on the south and west sides, if you're going to be on the side of rampant predatory conduct, both by the government as well as empowering your one-off criminal predators, then you know what? You're not serious, and I'm done with you. You are an object of ridicule, and I'm going to make sure everybody knows that you are a barbarian so that you are ostracized from those groups and activities that you like. That's what it's going to take, not this kind of self-congratulatory, I care. Really? Show me you do. No, you don't. You can delude yourself, but you're not fooling me, and you're not fooling anybody else that is a victim embedded in these statistics. That's what's actually happening. All right? So spare me the wonderful talk or the tough talk. I'm so tired of it. It's so lame. 400 dead, 400 murders, and we're not to August. 16% increase in crime on CTA trains and buses. 90% of serious incidents, violent crime, unsolved, just like less than a quarter of murders are cleared. Because who gives a rat's ass, right? Oh, no, don't worry. Tiny Dancer's on it. This from DNA Info. This against the backdrop of those two stories. What's the city doing? I'll tell you. City, slaps fines on businesses for putting signs on windows without permits.
Money grab.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I should be real concerned about all those Bucktown businesses and patrons who, vote for the usual feudalism, right? What do these business owners do with respect to educating their patrons? Saying, hey, I'm getting shaken down by the city. What are you going to do about it? You're a denizen of Wicker Park. Are you going to stand up with me and my business, or are you going to stand with the tax eaters and the plunderers? Does anybody have that conversation, or do you just passively let them push you around? You say, please beat me up in a back alley. I won't say a word. Long-standing city law enforced by Department of Buildings states that permits are required for non-illuminated painted or vinyl advertising signs or lettering that take up more than 25% of any single window for private property rights in the city. The cost of each on-premise window sign is $200 per sign, plus a Department of Building zoning review fee that can vary from $500 to $1,000 depending on the size of the sign. So that's the cost to put up the window signage in the first place.
And they pay so much in property taxes, they should be able to do what they want with their windows.
Well,
as long as it's not graphic or
one dry cleaner, Wicker Dry Cleaners, 1250 North Damon, has been ticketed for window signs. The manager of that dry cleaner, Cindy Miranda, said the painted window sign advertising wedding dress cleaning and leather repair has been in the window for 14 years, and now building inspectors told her to take it down or face a $1,000 daily fine. So they took it down.
Well, the owner of Kraft Pizza, he's been ticketed 4 times, and he hired a lawyer and appeared in court twice. And he said, forget it, I'll just take down the signs. And then he still had to pay a $1,000 fine.
Reelect Tiny Dancer and his band of toadies, right? Kufi on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, sir. Good morning, man.
Morning.
Feeling your passion. I saw a young guy get shot the other day. In South Shore area, and that was it, man. I mean, and then people were saying, "Don't tell nobody, just keep it. That's just what goes on out here." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" If Ron can do all these things and try to glorify, but you look at how he has treated his people. We can't even come outside. You're talking about signs in the windows being fine. We can't even come outside and sell things outside without being harassed. That lets you know right then and there, you don't give a care about the small guy. You're penalizing the small guy, the small business, the guy who wants to go out and sell newspapers, the guy who wants to go out and sell fruit or open up his business. We don't have a climate for that. And I blame Ron for that. He just gave $95 million to the police for a police state-of-the-art police and firemen training center. Why can't that be a training center for skills? We're trying to give people skills and jobs so they can go to work, so they don't have to do the bad stuff. He locked us out of that, and guess what you turn to? You turn to the life of crime, because he's locking us out on resources and ability. He's finding people. I work at a store, and they fine them every week for some issue. They come in, when they come in, they come in and fine them between $300 and $1,000. And I come in and help out and get their store together. They go, thanks, Kofi. They're not charging us $1,000 this week. They charge us $300. We feel better.
Yeah, it's right. Nice protection racket, right? You're paying security money like it's the mob, and it is. It's the legalized mob, protection money, and so
it's Mayor Emanuel's mob.
So let me ask this though. I mean, highest black unemployment rate in the country for any major urban center in Chicago. Highest black unemployment rate in the country for any state, the state of Illinois. So is it fair to say, because this is what I believe, I mean, if you're a black family and you vote for the Democrats, you can spare me all of the rhetoric about how, white Republicans in the suburbs hate us or this and that, other nonsense that you've been sold by poverty pimps in the city, that somehow, every white Republican hates you or doesn't care about you or is not down with your interests. What a bunch of bull jive. It could hardly be worse if it was intended. And so is it fair to say that any black family who votes for Tiny Dancer or continues to vote for the Chicago Democrat power structure is a willing participant in their own demise?
That's breaking down fast. That's going down fast. There's not going to be a block for Democrats. Because if you look at what Trump is doing, he came out with a 10-point plan. Then he comes out with, he's giving millions of dollars to us to train. And what is Ron doing? I'm worried about sanctuary city. I want to hold on to my sanctuary. I'm like, dude.
Well, he's worried about federal funding. He needs the money. It's all about the money.
Yeah, he's ignoring an administration which can actually help one of the biggest counties in the country, Cook County, and he's not doing it. He's crying over sanctuary funding.
Thanks for the call, Kofi. Appreciate your perspective. Thanks for chiming in. Neil in LaGrange.
Good morning. That other caller just reminded me of something else. First off, a crowd, you said, 16% on the CTA?
Yeah.
Well, they know that nobody is allowed to protect themselves. If you're a concealed carry holder, you're prohibited from carrying to protect yourself on any of the CTA or any of the trains. And then the last caller just said, regarding Sanctuary City, would it dollars in some fund to illegal?
Neil, sorry you're breaking up on us, but I got the concealed carry point. Point well taken, although that's trying to address a symptom rather than the problem, which is where Kofi was going. By the way, statewide, Illinois Policy Institute has it. Illinois jobs growth was worse than every neighboring state and half the neighboring state average from June 16 to June 17, so the last year. Data released end of last week, Friday, by the Illinois Department of Employment Security finds Illinois job growth from June 16 to June 17, 0.9%, 0.9%, which is a third less than the national average of 1.5%. Wisconsin, 1.5%, Iowa, 1.7%, Missouri, 1.6%, Kentucky, 2%, Indiana, 1.9%, Michigan, 1.9%. It's a small percentage difference. I mean, a percentage point difference, but you're talking about tens of thousands of jobs between, a 0.9 and a 1.9. So that's what's happening statewide too. Tell me the power structure and the philosophy of government at the statewide level that has prevailed over the last 40 years. The same one in the city of Chicago, kleptocracy. But keep it going. Keep it going, because I know you care. That's why you keep voting for the same thing. It's working out wonderfully. Diane on the southwest side.
Hi. I think it's time for us to turn up the heat. I think every tax-paying American citizen should have the right to know and have defined what their constitutional rights are when they are being taxed by an illegal, self-acclaimed sanctuary city, county, or state.
All right. Thanks for the call, Diane. Bill on the north side.
Yeah, I'm interested to find out who are the people that are buying these properties that the city owns. He sold one firehouse for $1. How is he going to pay for a $95 million when he's selling the properties, the city properties, to his friends? Was there a sign in front of these properties that said for sale to have anyone buy it like a normal property would go? Or is this all already done in the back doors and their friends buying for low prices then they contribute the money to the Democrat Party and build a $60 million condo complex on the West Loop.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. Why doesn't the feds come in and investigate him? He is nothing but a typical Chicago politician, rotten to the core.
Right, that's the men and women of always, Bill. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. By the way, related story, just because we talk so much about police incidents where a police officer shoots and kills somebody, sometimes sometimes wrongly and sometimes justifiably. But I think we should make mention of a police officer in Indiana who was killed over the weekend. Aaron Allen Ruders is his name. And I'm Aaron Allen. I'm reading Raiders. God, Aaron Allen is his name. What am I doing? I'm pulling my Ron Burgundy routine. Sorry. Aaron Allen is his name.
Right.
And he was a police officer responding to an overturned car, seeming accident, with two people inside an overturned car along a busy Indianapolis street.
Yeah, and they were hanging upside down, still strapped into their seatbelts.
So he walks up to them.
Crazy.
And allegedly, the driver of the car, one Jason Brown, 28 years old, of Indianapolis, who is now in police custody and charged with murder, opens fire on Lieutenant Aaron Allen, shooting him 14 times and killing him.
He was 38 years old, married, and father of a teenage son and a 5-year-old son.
And the motive is unclear. I mean, this guy, this 28-year-old, is charged with marijuana possession, but
he wasn't. The car wasn't stolen. There's no arrest warrants for him either. So
it's very strange. But nonetheless, a police officer is dead for responding to two people in distress after their car had flipped. And interestingly, this guy, Jason Brown, worked at some tattoo parlor in Indianapolis, and the proprietor and other employees at the tattoo parlor held a press conference to say, hey, wait a second, don't blame us just because he was an employee here. We're not down with what he did. We don't understand what he did. And
aren't they getting death threats?
Yeah, don't lump us in with what Jason Brown allegedly did.
Speaking on behalf of Delta 9 Tattoo Company, we do not understand what's going on and in no way involved or condone any activities that may have led up to this senseless act. Condemning my business for the act of another is destroying the lives of several other people, mine included. We do respect law enforcement to the fullest and all first responders. Our hearts are so with Lieutenant Aaron Allen and his family at this time. Please don't condemn us all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point unless there's any evidence to suggest otherwise. And this case is still taking shape because it's so bizarre and tragic. But you appreciate the tattoo owner's perspective, too, assuming they are, innocent in all of this. And they had this guy employed who, as you said, had no outstanding warrants. It wasn't like they were harboring a fugitive as an employee. And then he does what right now is rather inexplicable. But again, the dangerous job of being a police officer, Lieutenant Allen responding to what he thought was an accident and trying to render aid. He walks up to the car, and this guy upside down from his seat, where he's still seat belted in, opens fire, shooting him 14 times. That's how dangerous the job is.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
When I heard of Balance of Nature, and I said, because I had prayed, Lord, how am I going to get all this food into me that's so good to me? That's when I called. Now I know that I get my fruits and my vegetables into me, and I don't have to work so hard. I know that I am getting the proper things into my body. I do believe that if I didn't have this already in my body, my balance of nature, it wouldn't have gone so good for me. But because my body was healthy, that's what kept me going.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Hey, it's almost here, the new year, and if you weren't pleased with your son or daughter's public school experience, and we want to remind you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find a full year of tuition at a private school for half the price. There's no catch. There's schools located everywhere: Orland Hills, Kankakee, Oak Lawn, Antioch, Palatine, Chicago, just to name a few. But act quickly because these vouchers always sell out, so don't wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Born and raised in Chicagoland, my partners and I knew this city needed a locally owned business bank. As fellow entrepreneurs, we know the challenges facing businesses, and we are invested in our customers' success. We are here to build mutually beneficial, long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We look forward to helping our customers reach their goals every day, and we are here to see them succeed. At Signature Bank, you work directly with decision makers who understand your business and can deliver on their promises.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore. The chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch, it looked awful. But thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours, and when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business, and it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, CERTA, or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. After that wonderful live read, yes.
The Mooch and the General at 8:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. The General of News. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 72 and partly sunny in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles is home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. President Trump's new White House chief of staff is on the job. Former Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly replaces Reince Priebus after Priebus resigned last week. White House budget director is claiming this morning it is now official policy for the Senate to solely focus on health insurance reform before voting on anything else.
What you're seeing there is the president simply reflecting the mood of the people. Go and poll the American public and find out what the most important issue is to them right now, and it's health care.
Mick Mulvaney on CNN State of the Union saying the White House policy is that no other issues goes to a vote in Congress before the health insurance reform issue is resolved. One man still free after 12 inmates broke out of jail last night. In northern Alabama, police recaptured 11 of the men who escaped from the Walker County Jail. Tropical storm Emily drenching Florida today. The tropical depression came on shore just west of Tampa, packing maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. The FAA being told to investigate whether smaller seats with less room on airplanes is a safety hazard. Federal judge in Washington, D.C. Friday ordering the agency to begin looking into the matter. Illinois Senate President John Cullerton says he will send a bill that overhauls how Illinois doles out money to schools to Governor Rauner's desk later today. And the governor promises he will use his amendatory veto power to rewrite portions of that bill and send it back to the Senate over his objections to funding a bailout of Chicago Public Schools teachers' pensions. Cubs beat the Brewers 4-2 on Sunday. White Sox, a victory over the Indians, 3-1. The news, a service of Staples with low prices on everything your kids need to head back to school with confidence. Get everything they need for less at Staples, too. And right now, composition books and 2-pocket poly folders are just 50 cents. While supplies last, limit 30 in store, 10 online, ends 9/2. Staples, it's pro time. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Home isn't just a place, it's the feeling of knowing you're safe. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Learn more at ADT.com.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
Attention taxpayers. The stock market and economy continue to grow, yet countless Americans remain enslaved to the IRS. If you owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled returns, you can legally resolve your tax problem through federally approved programs to give you a fresh start. Your circumstances may qualify you to have liens, levies, and wage garnishments stopped. If you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you may even qualify to have a large portion of your taxes forgiven. Community Tax has established a toll-free hotline for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-348-9815. Community Tax has helped over 40,000 people like you resolve hundreds of millions in tax debt. If you owe the IRS or have unfiled returns, you have a legal right to resolve your tax problem through federally active programs, potentially qualifying you to save hundreds or even thousands. Call the Community Tax hotline now to see if you qualify at 800-348-9815. 800-348-9815. That's 800-348-9815.
8:35 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Kennedy Expressway, the delays start at Montrose, 51 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 41 from Montrose, 34 in the Express. Outbound 32 minutes from downtown to the airport. Eden's 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 28. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, 28 from Manheim, outbound 36 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 14 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour and 2 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 40 minutes to 355. Bryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State jammed, 132 to Oak Plain, where a crash is cleared, and it's heavy Balmoral to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound delays are from the Stevenson most of the way to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. Veterans Memorial heavy, 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. Stop and go Army Trail to 290. Southbound 53 tight Palatine to Kirchhoff. The Adams and Reagan Tollways are fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Sunny and pleasant and a high of 84. Partly cloudy and 66 overnight. Currently 72. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Financial Planning with Jack Taboda, your 401k rollover specialist. Heard Saturday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. I just want government to leave me alone. I don't have a political party speaking for me. We'll talk about it when Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Trump's got a new chief of staff.
Yeah, he's going to be sworn in here within the hour.
And his old chief of staff is trying to smooth the transition. He handled the change in leadership in the Oval Office at the chief of staff level with dignity over the weekend. Reince Priebus on with Wolf Blitzer talking about, Trump's right to hit the reset button.
The president has a right to hit a reset button. I think it's a good time to hit the reset button. I think he was right to hit the reset button, and I think that it was something that I think the White House needs. I think it's healthy, and I support him in it.
And Priebus still on Team Trump. He's still going to be an ally.
I've always said to him, and he always agreed with me, anytime either one of us think that we need to make a change or move in a different direction, let's just talk about it and get it done. And so I think the president thought about that, and we talked about it yesterday, and I resigned, and he accepted my resignation. But this is about the president. It's about moving his agenda forward. I think he's made a smart decision with General Kelly, and I think he's going to do a great job. And I'm looking forward to the future. One other thing. I'm always going to be a Trump fan. I'm on Team Trump, and I look forward to helping him achieve his goals and his agenda for the American people.
Outstanding guy. I mean, that is poise and grace. That is somebody who is not going to succumb to questions such as what was going on with you and Scaramucci.
I'm not going to get into that subject. It's getting in the mud, and I think the palace intrigue stuff is annoying, and I think it's a distraction. It takes away from the president's agenda. I think what everyone needs to do is just focus on the president, to focus on the things that he wants to get done for the American people.
So it's interesting to me to note how Spicer and Priebus left versus how the mooch came in. Spicer and Priebus left as loyalists, tamping down the hysteria, steady, talking about the president's agenda, being at least outwardly helpful with the transition for new staff. And the mooch, for example, comes in like a house on fire,
guns a-blazing,
excoriating up and down everyone who he has bones to pick with and personal vendettas to settle. Now, so that's one, and maybe the mooch will be an outlier in all this. I hope so. I hope he's not on a lectern too much for a long time to come. General Kelly will obviously be an entirely different matter, and how Jack Klugman and Tony Randall get along, I don't know, but I hope it's as well as the Odd Couple worked out, because having Scaramucci be the guy synthesizing White House policy along with Sarah Huckabee Sanders that's being made by the president in conjunction with his chief of staff and senior advisors should be interesting. The other thing Priebus mentioned, too, with respect to the current senior leadership team, well, Steve Bannon may be in the crosshairs. So what do you have to say about Steve Bannon?
Yeah, everyone says that he's next.
Well, and remember, everyone, the conventional Beltway wisdom, which is conventionally wrong, also had Priebus and Bannon being rivals and antagonists and at each other and trying to force the other out for the first 6 months. And that doesn't sound like it squares with Priebus's view of Bannon and their relationship.
But I will say that Steve's doing a great job. He is a brilliant guy who only cares about the president's agenda. He thinks about it 24 hours a day, never quits. He's a great asset to this president and a dear friend. So my hat's off to Steve Bannon.
Oh, that's great. Good. And then, and the reason why he and Scaramucci got into that spat is because Scaramucci accused him of being the leaker, and he said he's going to F and kill people when he find out who the leaker is. So Wolf Blitzer asked him, are you the leaker?
Can you just clear up the other charge? It was a very bitter charge that Scaramucci leveled against you, that you're a leaker and that you're really not that loyal to the president. You've got your own agenda. He made some bitter accusations against you, specifically the leaking. Are you the leaker in the White House?
That's ridiculous. Wolf, come on. Give me a break. I'm not going to get into his accusations.
Why not respond to him?
Because I'm not going to, because it doesn't honor the president. I'm going to honor the president every day. I'm going to honor his agenda, and I'm going to honor our country, and I'm not going to get into all of this personal stuff.
So you can see how he tried different ways to get him to answer the question.
You know what it turns out? It turns out that the quality of talent matters, whether it is quote-unquote inside talent, meaning a political insider, somebody that was in the game, RNC head, as Reince Priebus was, as well as bringing in outside talent, too. Neither realm has cornered the market on talent. And so rather than playing the cheap inside-outside game, which the D.C. press corps loves to play, and some people fall into that trap as well, You should probably, particularly with respect to important policymaking decisions, assess the actual talent of the individual in question, whether their history is in government or their history is in the private sector, and how well they would fit into a particular role. I remember this during the campaign. We don't want career politicians, banging the drum, career politicians. All career politicians are bad. And I'm quick to remind people, Scott Walker, career politician. Is he bad? Has he done a bad job in Wisconsin? I think it's difficult to make that case, don't you? So rather than cheap talking points, cheap labels that obviate, that give one the sense that they can dispense with the need to assess the texture of somebody's character and skill sets, how about you dispense with the silliness and you say, Reince Priebus, professional, maybe he wasn't the president's confidant, maybe he isn't the best person for chief of staff 6 months in. Fine. So you get a new one. No problem. Changes are made in White House staff all the time. That's not any reason to throw up your hands or suggest chaos. Bringing in the mooch as your comm director, different story, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Different story than General Kelly, isn't it? And so these decisions should be weighed on their merits, not based on who's an inside guy or an outside guy. And on the merits, General Kelly seems to be a fine choice for chief of staff. I think, much like Priebus did, he will operate quietly, and hopefully he'll get the mooch to operate quietly as well, because that guy is a rolling catastrophe. And it's not just his soon-to-be ex-wife who thinks so.
Oh, speaking of his ex-wife, she did give birth a week ago today while he was with President Trump at the in West Virginia at the Boy Scout camp or jamboree, and he texted her, "Congratulations, I'll pray for our child."
And
then he went to visit it on Friday, or the son, not it. Excuse me.
Our friend Andrew Klavan has an interesting piece in PJ Media, Pajamas Media, President Chaos and the Keystone Congress. He talks about the last week that was, and he writes, you know what the funniest thing about all this is? The funniest thing is it's still better than having the Democrats in power. Like a lot better. We now know the Obama administration was spying on just about everybody. The Hillary gang seemed to have been the ones really colluding with Putin. The Senate Minority Leader has given up on capitalism. And the former head of the DNC has been doing God knows what with a Pakistani IT guy who just got arrested trying to blow the country. So while the stupid party is reaching ultimate stupid, the evil party has been pushing the needle towards satanic. Now, you may be asking, what the hell happened to the greatest country on earth? And also, why is this Klavan guy laughing? I'll answer both questions. What happened is Barack Obama traumatized the country, and I don't think the left or the intellectuals on the right really understand how much. And the anti-Trump right can sniff at that, the Trump response to what Barack Obama did. They can and should talk about ideas and policy and governance, which are all important, but it's the culture that sets the tone of the country, and the right has let the culture go. CNN and the news networks and the late-night comics and the Hollywood stars and the Ivy League and the feminist Nazis sowed this wind by spitting on our people and their values day after day after day. Welcome to the whirlwind. So why am I laughing? I'm laughing because while no one knows the future, my genuine belief is that we'll be okay. Our institutions are strong. Our people are great. The Obama trauma will pass. The Trump reaction will end. Time and the usual crises of life will bring us back to ourselves in a new consensus. Well, that's sort of a backhanded compliment. I guess it's not less a compliment or a criticism, and it's more just a sense of proportionality to what's happened in the last week and what's happened intermittently over the first 6 months. Klavan suggesting more level-headedness is required. Well, hopefully some of those staff changes, particularly at the chief level, will engender that level-headedness about which Andrew Klavan writes. Sean in Elmwood Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a sad day. I'm on my way to the airport to come back to that sewer called Cook County in Illinois. But I was listening to you talk about the Scaramucci, Reince Priebus, and I find this fascinating because to me, they're just different mannerisms of explaining and making excuses for the same fraud. I am amazed that Trump's tweet today, where he points to his successes, is anyone making the connection? They're the same successes that Obama claimed. When a politician,
the appointment of the nomination of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court, that was the same.
No, the high stock
The
market,
Keystone pipeline, is that the same?
when you point to the economy and you leave out the fraud, are you talking about the debt ceiling? Is anybody talking about Republicans pushing the debt ceiling up? I can't hear a thing, not a murmur. Yet that's their whole agenda.
You can the criticism of the artificial high of the stock market, which and other things like the debt ceiling is legitimate, but you're undermined with your hyperbole, saying it's the same as Obama. It's just not. Thanks for the call, Sean. Tom in Deer Park.
When Bannon goes, and he will go because everyone associated with Trump will eventually go, the Svengali or the Rasputin of this campaign and this administration, who still has connections to Breitbart, is going to turn on Trump and the administration. And then the rest of the cable and radio media will follow, and maybe we'll get out of this nightmare. What's your opinion, Dan?
What do you mean, get out of this nightmare? What? You're promoting impeachment or what exactly?
No, I'm not promoting impeachment. I don't think it's going to happen. That was pretty well laid out by a good columnist. I can't recall his name over the weekend. But
there's no grounds for it, so that's why it's not going to happen. But okay.
Correct. I agree. But it is my point. It's a nightmare, and we did it ourselves, this country. So I don't know how we get out of it. I don't see it impeachment. There's 4 other ways it could go.
All right. Thanks for the call, Tom. I mean, in terms of Breitbart, Breitbart was critical of Trump in the last couple of weeks with his public criticism of Sessions, because Breitbart is a conservative outlet and a fan of Jeff Sessions, as am I, and as I've been critical of Trump's public criticism of Jeff Sessions. So, it's not so much about personality. I know that's what people like to obsess about, and Trump's boorish conduct and tweeting from time to time, too often, actually. It's about the policy choices and personnel choices that are extensions of policy choices or predicates to policy choices. So that's kind of what I look at, and I can see the point that Trump's antics and the antics of Trump impersonators like the Mooch do not help at all.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, Joey Chestnut. Something's eating away at Joey Chestnut. What is it? But first, forecast for your forecast. Get a good one. Today, sunny and pleasant, a high of 84, and a repeat for tomorrow. Same forecast. Now let's go into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center to the big boss. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Inbound Kennedy. In case you're wondering, the inbound delays start at Montrose, 51 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. It's 41 from Montrose, 34 in the Express. The Ohio feeder's backed up. Outbound 12 minutes to Montrose, 32 to the airport. Eden's 19 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 27. The Eisenhower, 42 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, 25 from Manheim. Outbound 31 to Thorndale. Stevenson's different. An hour and 14 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The worst of the delays are between Harlem and Kedzie. It's an hour and 2 minutes from the Tri-State to the Drive. Outbound 40 minutes to 3:55. On Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy 132 to Eau Plaine after a crash. And Balmoral to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound slow in pockets from the Stevenson to 31st. And heavy from the Reagan to Little Lawrence. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Today, we're talking about your budget and budget blinds.
People get so hung up on that word budget.
Listen, everybody's got a budget. Budget Blinds is all about getting the window coverings you really want at a price that fits your budget.
Right. They have exclusive designer styles, hundreds of choices.
And Budget Blinds gives you expert service. None of that do-it-yourself. The pros bring the showroom to you, then do it all. Measure and install.
What a relief.
That's style and service for every budget.
And right now, during their 25th anniversary celebration, it's the biggest sale of the year with special upgrades and offers.
Explain the free upgrades like the invisible tilt for shutters.
Make shutters look cleaner, more contemporary. Same with the free cordless upgrade on honeycomb shades. No cords. Looks sleek and uncluttered.
I like that. Just call this number. It's easy to remember. 855-BUDGET-BLINDS.
855, then the name, Budget Blinds, or go online.
BudgetBlinds.com.
Remember, budget means getting custom window coverings at a price that fits your budget. And remember, 855-BUDGET-BLINDS.
Offer good on selected products at participating independently owned and operated franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-400-4173. That's 1-800-400-4173. 1-800-400-4173.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-600-4133. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-600-4133. Again, that's 1-800-600-4133.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
Your logo is your brand, your reputation. It's your most valuable asset. So what's the best thing to do with it? Give it away. When the experts at 4imprint put your logo on the right promotional products, giving those items away can make a lasting impression, empower your brand, and attract new customers. In fact, we'll prove it by revealing the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free. Simply text the keyword GIVE to 642-642. We don't just print your logo. We're here to help you every step of the way. The 4imprint team can make your logo shine on your choice of thousands of promotional items, all delivered on time at great prices with free art assistance and outstanding customer service that's second to none. Want to turn your logo into profit? Give it away. Discover the top 3 promotional items for driving new customers absolutely free by texting GIVE to 642-642. That's GIVE to 642-642.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
For 5 years, I was with this other company, and I tried everything, and it was costing me a fortune. And on top of that, it wasn't working. And I said, ever since I've taken this product, I have kissed that goodbye. Matter of fact, I said, this has been the first winter that I have gone through without a flu or nothing.
Last year, I started on the Balance of Nature. I'm telling you, it really built me up, and it really helped me.
My cholesterol went down. Only after taking it 1 month, I went down 20 points.
I feel better already with it. I just feel it's made my life more predictable, more useful.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. That's 1-800-300-3861. 1-800-300-3861.
AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, I know you follow the Major League eating profession the same way Mike Scott follows women's basketball, so you'd be interested in
It's the WNBA.
This occurrence.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I love competitive eating stories.
You love competitive eaters, as I understand it.
I dated one.
No,
yeah.
of course.
I mean, who
hasn't? Right.
No, really.
Yeah.
He was a competitive hot wings eater.
Of course. Of course he was. He was Christie-sized?
No, he was a big guy, but not in the area as Chris Christie. So what happened to Joey Chestnut? I've talked to him a few times, by the way. Don't worry, we didn't make out.
Joey Chestnut displays Clive Davis as the world leader in eating hot dogs and tacos.
Oh, really? Wait, he ate tacos? Taco, burrito.
Mike Scott gets the
in
Clive
that
Davis.
speedo?
Mike Scott gets the Clive Davis reference.
Oh,
He's clapping in the booth.
Yeah, he
If
is.
you don't get the Clive Davis reference, look up his autobiography.
How do you, was it Clyde?
Clive Davis, like the record-producing magnate, Clive Davis?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Clive Davis.
Joey Chestnut, 92 carne asada tacos in 8 minutes to win the World Taco Eating Championship.
That's my boy.
92.
92. But did he get him wet, like dampen him?
Here's the thing with
water?
Chestnut. This is why he's one of the great ones, because he's never satisfied. His goal was to hit 100, but he didn't know the tacos would be seasoned. If he had known that, he would have practiced with seasoned tacos.
See, you got to learn from your mistakes. The next time, he's going to get her down.
Yeah.
Maybe take a few Pepsid
He is
AC
gonna
before the
Get
competition.
her down. And Chris Christie, when he leaves the governorship in New Jersey, could be stiff competition for Chestnut. Joey Chestnut, I believe he is available, Amy.
Okay, thanks. We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now here's Mike Scott.
Here are the stories we're watching right now. Governor Rauner hopes for a school funding plan on his desk this morning. Toddler drowns in Elwood. No Democrat Day at the Illinois State Fair. White Sox walk off on the Indians. WIND Chicago News Time 9.
Can he plug the leaks? I'm Dave Anthony.